Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Devon.
Hello!
Yeah, today we're going to be going back into the world of Baldur's Gate 3. We're going to be starting on Act 2's retrospective. But before we get too far into that, we're going to start with our good old time-honoured tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And do you have one for me today?
I do. Baldur's Gate 3 has been very over-dramatised for how sexual it is, because let's be honest, it's very tame at best.
Oh yes. Unless you're Minthara.
However, there's a very limited pool of actual romance options. So, my obvious question is, pick a character who is not romanceable and make them romanceable. Who would you pick and why?
This is a fun one.
He says because, with no trace of emotion to his voice.
I think your answer is going to be Jaheira.
Or maybe I knew that was the obvious answer, so I picked someone else.
Man, okay, so it's a weird one, but I kind of feel that there would be a really fucked up romance with Orin the Red.
I don't think you can do that. Like, it's your answer, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I think that completely fucks the plot.
Yeah. I mean, you still have to kill her in the end anyway, but, is there a better one than Orin? Well, there's millions of better ones than Orin. I really like Alfira, but she's got a love interest already. Man, fuck it, Volo, because he very definitely does have a lot of paramours, and who's to say you couldn't be the next?
Yeah, but I think the game has to remind you that one of his paramours is a bronze dragon, so, you know, you're probably not going to hold up.
Sure. But yeah, how about you? Who's going to be your paramour?
Like, as much as I would love for Jaheira to get a bit more attention in the romance scene, I totally get why she doesn't.
Yeah, she was happily married.
And, I would jump on that immediately because it ticks so many boxes. However, I do think it kind of fucks Jaheira's character up a little bit. So instead, and while it would fuck up another set of NPCs, I don't care about them as much. I think it would be cool if you could have a quick cheeky fling with both Aelin and Isabel.
Okay, yeah, because there's a short amount of time in which neither of them know that the other is alive. So it would be
I don't mean that. I mean, that's fucked up. No, I mean a quick little fling with both of them in some weird, like, we're all horny, let's just do this quick and then never talk about it again.
Oh, okay. So like, a nice menage a trois. Okay, yeah, I like that.
Oh yeah, I've got to ask you. Fuck, sorry. There was a big old pause of silence there, guys, so that's why the flow of the podcast is weird. Rick, do you have a question for me?
You asked me for this in Act 1, but I'm going to ask you specifically from Act 2. Is there an Act 2 character that you would say would make a good companion, as in a party member?
Right, I was going to say, because initially when you ran this by me, you said party member, and I'm like, companion's completely different.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheat a little bit in that there's two I'd go to. One of them is, and you're going to have to forgive me because I don't remember his name, but I think he'd only work for a very specific type of party, and that's the weird dude you meet in the woods who wants to punish that girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it was He Who Was.
That's the one. Yeah, he's got a weird fucking name, and he's got the White Raven with him. Isn't it called Quoth?
Cool. Yeah. Oh no, Quoth is your Raven.
Oh, okay.
So when you summon a Raven familiar, the Raven is called Quoth, and it's the only one that's got a name. The rest of them are just called like Wolf or Pig or Cat.
Yeah, that's because someone at Larian was really pleased with that joke.
Yeah, Quoth the Raven. Yeah.
But yeah, if you can't have him, because again, it's very flimsy, and unless you're literally playing a lawful evil party, I don't think he'd fit in with anyone else.
Yeah, like even Minthara fits in very well with the party because she likes other party members.
Yeah, except for a Gale she fucking hates Gale, and I don't know why. I mean, I do know why.
She hates wizards.
I was gonna say I do know why, but it's just like it feels so unfair.
Yeah.
But yeah, my other answer would be because I'm eliminating Zevlor because he's not a party member for plot reasons.
Yeah.
So by that token, I think Damon would actually make a pretty good member of the party.
Okay, yeah, because basically you complete Karlach's questline with him in Act 2. Like, getting to meet him in Act 3 and, like, give him a high five is nice and all, but, like, he doesn't need to be there for that. So, yeah, you'd be able to pick him up there. No problem. Okay, yeah, I like that.
But yeah, how about you?
I'm gonna go go with Zarel. She is the second in command at Moonrise Towers, but it feels like she could be swayed if she were to be extended the protection of the prism and be shown that no, she's not actually met the absolute. She was on drugs.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of get what you're saying. However, she is really happy to have the instant kill power. Like, I think, again, you'd have to be a very particular party for her to fit in. That being said, when she started flirting with me, I did fucking melt.
Yeah. It would also be nice to have a half-orc, because they've gone to the trouble of like implementing half-orcs, dragonborns, and small races, only for none of them to be used as party members.
Well, yeah, it's one of those. Like, there's what, like 8, 9, 10 races in the game?
Yeah, something like that.
Like,
and like half of them don't get used.
Yeah, but by the same token, I also don't use half the fucking party members anyway when I'm playing a game, because I usually pick a team composition and it stays like that, apart from when I'm doing someone's specific personal quest.
Oh yeah. Like, I only use Will when I need to, pretty much. Like, Will.
I started a new playthrough with I can't remember what the fuck. Oh yeah, I started a new playthrough because I wanted to try and recruit Minthara the good way, and I've made a conscious effort of putting Will on my party, specifically making him a Palilot because I now know I can multi-class.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that's about it for our hypotheticals. We'll move into the meat of today. So we're starting with Act 2. You start in one of a couple of areas, and you've got to deal with the Shadow Curse yourself somehow.
Objectively, right, okay, let's just get this out of the way, shall we? I think we've mentioned it before, but I think it bears mentioning again. It feels like you are heavily dissuaded for multiple reasons not to play an absolutely bullshit evil character. Because, first of all, if you're playing an evil character, chances are you reach Act 2 in about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Whereas if you play a good character and want to do everything, it takes about 20.
Yeah. Even an evil character that does everything takes less time because, you don't have to go through the goblin camp and murder everything. All you have to do is walk in as a drow and then just murder dudes. Come here. Minthara gives you the lyre and goes, oh yeah, go through.
Yeah, it's very quick. But also, in this, you are objectively given a worse hand by being evil because you don't get the option to free the pixie unless you're good.
Yeah. You can't even do it. Like, I think you can tinker with the item, but you have to tinker with it. You can't even you don't get the prompt that you normally would.
Well, the prompt is normally you complete the ambush against Drider Dude, or if you're me, you tell him to kill himself, and and then you notice that there's a pixie inside the lantern, and you can let her out or not, and she's the rudest pixie ever, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
But the thing is, if you really go on.
She's not rude when she's in the lantern, but she is when she gets out.
Yeah. The thing is, I've forgotten my fucking train of thought now, Rick. Thanks.
Dolly the pixie.
Okay, yeah, I do remember what I was going to say, but not because of you. When you pick up the moon lantern, you got the option of letting the pixie out, and if you do, you just get a buff that means the shadow curse no longer means fuck all. However, if you don't ever get this option, you constantly have to walk around with one of your characters with the moon lantern, and also the AI is not perfect in Baldur's Gate 3. As good as the game is, we know it's good. It got so many fucking awards. The AI scripting is a bit dumb sometimes, and sometimes your companions walk slightly too slow, and they go, ah! And you're like, well, stand in the fucking lantern, Astarion, you divvy prick. Yeah,
and they go, ow, because they put you into time-based mode. Yeah, you just get put into turn-based mode because someone's going to get hurt.
A recent patch or two might have fixed this, because I haven't done this since, like, a month after the game came out.
Yeah, fair enough.
As in using the moon lantern rather than freeing the pixie.
Yeah, I think last time I did it, I didn't get the moon lantern for some reason, and I had to bullshit my way through because I know there's a backup moon lantern in Moonrise, so basically find a way to get through the hardest part of the curse, which for me it was use wild shape and send an owlbear on their own to pick up the fast travel point, and then everyone can just go there.
Sure, that's weird.
Yeah, because they told me, pick it up now that it's been sent to the inn, and I couldn't find it in the inn, so I had to just bullshit my way through it.
I'm very confused by whatever the series of events managed to lead you up to that.
I let the Harpers take the lantern back to the inn because they needed it. Like, someone needed it, and once they got back, back, then they just like took it to a room or somewhere, but I just couldn't find where it was.
Yeah, but how did you get to that point? So were you walking with the Drider and then switch sides?
I think I was even.
Well, that's the only way I can think of you doing this, because if you start the ambush from the good side, you walk with the dudes before you get there, and they just say, well, you need the Moon Lantern to get to Moonrise because we want you to infiltrate because you've already done that shit.
Yeah.
And then that's when that's usually how you discover that there's a pixie inside the lantern, you can free it, and yeah.
Yeah, there are many, many different weird ways to do things, which is just, it's a testament to Larian knowing how players think sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the main places are the Last Light Inn and Moonrise Towers, and then the end game zone of the Gauntlet.
Well, you say the end game. Well, I get what you mean, because at the end of the Gauntlet, you've got the big warning text that says, when you do this, things will change.
Yeah, and, there's that, and then there's, like, Beneath Moonrise, which I kind of count it as Moonrise, but I know it's kind of not.
I'd argue it's very much not Moonrise.
Yeah, fair enough. And then there's the little bit of finale after that is like it feels like the last episode of a season before they start the final season, when, everything's done, and we're just getting you hype for season 3.
Okay, sure.
And that's when, you meet the Emperor.
But yeah, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's rewind a little bit. So we already touched on it slightly in that there are 2 ways to effectively enter. You can enter from the Mountain Pass, or you can enter from the Underdark. And basically, your alignment in general is probably going to affect which way you go. If you're playing a more evil character, such as straight up murdering the Tieflings, there's no reason to ever go into the Underdark, apart from, funsies. And you're probably just going to go from the Mountain Pass, because that's what Minthara tells you. Alternatively, if you've got Halcyon telling you, he's like, you can go via the Mountain Pass, but the Underdark's probably a safer bet. And realistically, if it is a good indicator of how do you want to play the second chapter, because you'll immediately run into the goblins and the Drider if you go in through the Mountain Pass. It's not immediate, it's a little bit afterwards. You'll bump into a group of Harpers being ambushed by shadows, and you can be the big dick OG hero.
Yeah. Like, I've never just let the Harpers take on the Drider on their own. I've always just stood up and helped them out.
The one time I've done it that route, because I've never done it that way since, and I'm probably never going to, is I was playing a proper evil character, because I wanted to recruit I wanted that Minthursi. And, yeah, by the way, people who are new to the show, I fucking hate that. I use it ironically because I know it makes people laugh, but, yeah.
Minthursi's Drussy.
Anyway, it's basically like this. Hey, do you want to fuck Minthara? I hope you like genocide. Or at least that's what it was before. Apparently it's still a bit convoluted to get Minthara on a good run, but it is possible now without hacks. But yeah, when I got there, I kept on the Drider side, because I'm like, fuck that, I'm evil, and then I felt real bad. Every time I make an evil decision in this game, the game makes me feel bad, and that's because I'm a bit of a soppy bollocks. I don't like doing evil things anyway, but I don't know how much of it is me being like that, and how much of it is Larian actually just being really good at making you feel bad.
Yeah, because I feel like in certain games, it feels comically funny to be evil, because, even your most sympathetic of target is just comically pathetic, and it just makes it more funny than a gut punch to do the evil stuff. I'm thinking of things like in the Fable games, but like in this, you really do kind of feel, oh man, this was a person.
Yeah. I honestly think, and this is going to be a bit of a tangent, I do apologise in advance, I think the game that did being an evil character the best, because it was a pragmatic evil character rather than a silly, over-the-top, haha, I'm evil, was Dragon Age Origins, where every evil action was pretty much like, I should get paid for this, or, oh, I'm not getting anything out of this, so why the fuck should I help you? And it's always like, well, why are you not helping the Darkspawn? And it's like, because the Darkspawn want to kill me too, motherfucker! Yeah.
Man, the other one is, the one that I'll always think of with that is like the if you recruit the werewolves by killing all the elves. It's very obviously an evil option. But but the end game result is, oh man, well now I've got werewolves for this final conflict.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pragmatic choice. That being said, you have to be a bit of a dick to get to that choice, because even the queen of the... I've forgotten her fucking name, the spirit of the forest.
The spirit of the forest is good enough, yeah. The dryad lady.
Yeah, but they can't say dryad because it's legally distinct. Even she is like, when you meet her, she's like, I want to treat with the elves and bring peace because this is bollocks. And you have to succeed on not a persuasion. It's just a charisma check in that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, of just saying, I've got a better idea. Why not just slaughter the elves? And you got that one werewolf who's like, yeah! yeah.
But yeah, another one actually...
Go on, sorry.
On a similar token, like, I think Renegade Shepherd is a pretty good example of an evil run. Yeah, you can do some things that's just being an asshole for the purpose of being an asshole, but in general, it's a generally maybe lawful evil at worst kind of guy.
In Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, I agree with you. In Mass Effect 3, it crossed the line into stupid.
Yes, yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I generally get what you're saying. Like, it's almost as if BioWare used to be a good company before all their dudes fucked off to Obsidian.
Yeah, almost as if BioWare wrote Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
Oh, low blow. Man, I tried to play Baldur's Gate 1 not too long ago, and it's a rough time, mostly because the tutorials are not good.
No. I played a different D&D second ed game, and it was so very different to what came after it that I struggled. I struggled with just the D&D mechanics.
You know what? I'm slightly lucky in my timing of playing Baldur's Gate 1, because I don't know how far you are in Baldur's Gate 3, but let's just say someone shows up within like the first 5 minutes of Baldur's Gate 1, so when someone also showed up in Baldur's Gate 3, I went, I know you shouldn't be here.
Yeah, fair enough. I've done everything apart from what I believe to be the final boss run.
So have you beaten Orin?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you know Saravok's in the fucking game.
Yeah.
So when I encountered him, I was like, you kill my mentor like 5 minutes ago? Because that's about how long ago I played BG1. And it's like, oh, that's weird. I could have sworn you died at the end of that game.
Yeah. I think he's also recruitable in the Baldur's Gate 2 DLC.
Okay, here's the thing. I know that for a fact because, and this is the weirdest, I used to listen to the Super Best Friend cast, and on that, Pat was playing Baldur's Gate 1 back when the remaster first came out, or the enhanced edition, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And he was like, he said, this is a problem you can only encounter from playing games that are 20 years old. I typed into Google, how do you something Saravok, as in, how do I beat Saravok, what's the best combination? And the autocomplete was, how do I change Saravok's class? To which point he went, shit, that means he's recruitable at some point.
Oh man, yeah. Yeah, so apparently BG3 just rides roughshod over his entire alignment, and he did have a character arc if you have him as a recruitable, but no, we don't anymore. But yeah, we were talking about Act 2.
Oh yeah, sorry about that, guys. That's on me.
It's normally me that does this. Yeah, so
Oh, sorry, big fucking retroactive spoiler for Act 3.
Yeah. So the Last Light Inn is where most of your good aligned characters live. You get interrogated by Jaheira when you first get there.
Okay, Rick, I have to ask you. I fucking loved it because I decided I don't usually have snarky responses, especially when I'm playing a good character, unless they seem funny. And one of the options when speaking to Jaheira is just, doesn't anyone say hello anymore? And she just gets the biggest shit-eating grin on her face while staring you down and just goes, hello.
It's great, isn't it?
Like Jaheira won me over in that moment, like immediately. I was like, oh, you're awesome.
Yeah.
So I've actually done this in both evil and good, in that like entered the camp, so I know what's happening in both cases. So I assume you do as well.
I've not done it without saving the Harpers.
I've done it once without saving the Harpers, in that you turn up and same thing happens, but obviously Dickbag McGee saves you.
Okay.
The guy who turns up later to attack Isabel.
Right, okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, because he recognises you as a true soul, so he talks to you telepathically going, that was bold coming here and doing this. Let's work together.
Yep, fair enough. And yeah, you can use that to immediately out him.
You can. However, I didn't. I went up. Here's the thing. I was like, I'm going to do evil run up until Act 2 because I just wanted to get the Minthara recruitment to see what Minthara's deal was. I then recruited Minthara and then I stopped with that playthrough because I was very depressed with it.
Yeah. She gets a couple of fun things in Act 3, but like basically her quest line is basically done at that point.
Hey,
similar to Halcyon. Like his quest line is done. Yeah, as soon as you recruit Halcyon, his quest line's done. Like you can romance him, but that's about it.
I have seen some very funny dialogue options with him in Act 3 because he is polyamorous as fuck.
Oh, yes. So, if you are playing Dark Urge, your quest in Act 2 is kill Isabel.
However, you can refuse this, in which case they're like, that's okay, your new quest is to is to murder whoever you're banging.
Yeah, and apparently in one of the recent patches, you can say, oh man, I don't want to do that. Can I kill like Lizelle or Karlach instead if your approval with either of them is low enough?
Wow. I mean, I totally get it, but wow.
I know, right?
But I could see, you know what? That's a good addition because I could see a Dark Urge character being like, I kind of like them though. Can I just kill this person who I don't really give a fuck about?
Yeah. Although a Dark Urge probably isn't bringing Karlach along.
I would be very surprised if a Dark Urge had Karlach, unless, again, as you were probably about to say, you were doing a redemption Dark Urge. But it feels really... If I was going to do a Dark Urge one, I would just go balls to the walls. No, fuck it, I'm an evil piece of shit, because I don't see the point in a redemption run. Because I'd argue, even though the character had his memories wiped, I don't think there's any undoing that.
Oh, no, there's not. Except when you complete the redemption. It's actually rather fulfilling.
Okay, sure.
But until then, yeah, you're an asshole. Like you're required to be an asshole. Like you can't get through the game without doing at least a murder.
Well, yeah, because you'll murder. Oh, cool. They added something in the patch, by the way, the big patch that gave you the end game party. If you did the bullshit thing, so you don't murder Alfira, you murder the Dragonborn Bard. At the party at the end of the game, you get sent a bunch of letters by a bunch of characters where it wouldn't make sense for them to turn up, and/or people they didn't want to pay for extra recording time.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. Like I'm making a joke about it, but you can't really blame them. Who wants to be brought into a studio to record 2 lines of dialogue?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've read about this. Yeah, so Alfira sends you a letter going, I heard about what you did for me, and I have to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and you'll never see me again.
Yeah. It's nice that it acknowledges it, because obviously there's no way of Alfira actually knowing that that's why you were a dick, but you know, because if I remember rightly, the actual thing you got to do is you got to knock her out, haven't you?
Yeah, you non-lethal her on the day of the night where you're destined to kill her.
Yeah,
which for most people means save scumming.
Well, yeah, because there's just Act 1 is the most egregious for it in that it has to line up so many fucking events that there's no real, unless you know off by heart the order the game prioritizes the events, you're probably going to fuck it up once or twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a lot of them are just do a bunch of long rests because you just need to get through a bunch of these scenes.
Like 2 of them are just fucking Astarion being cute.
Yeah. Like one of them is just you see him stride off into the night, but only the camera sees it because your character is asleep.
Yeah, and then you get the fucking scene the next day with the emaciated boar.
Yeah, and he's just like, oh, can we not look at this boar? It's clearly dead. Just let's move on. I think it's one of the few times you actually get to use the medicine skill as well.
Yeah. It's not a very useful skill.
No, it's
Baldur's
crap.
Gate.
Man, it's even not very good in the regular game. Like it's fantastic in Pathfinder, but in regular D&D, it's not great. You have to use a lot of DM fiat for can I do investigation, but with medicine to see like forensically this or that.
It's one of those where, like, you're a DM, Rick. If I was DMing a game and someone invested heavily in medicine, I would probably make some checks medicinal checks just so they didn't waste their points.
Yeah, like I think Kellen had medicine just for that, and also for, being a cleric, it makes sense.
I was going to say,
being
I didn't do it for Kellen because, Kellen was fucking shit up in combat, so she can fuck off.
Yeah, she was winning. Yeah, like her dump stat was a 14 in Dex. Like, it was dumb.
And this is why I don't like rolling for stats.
Yeah, this is a good reason why not to roll for stats. Like, because it's not as bad as 3.5 where you can just choose to be arbitrarily strong. But yeah. Other things to do at Last Light. When you get there, I got rescued by Moll the first time.
Same.
And the second time was just by Harper's vouching for me. And like you say, you've got the infiltrator guy vouching for you if you're an evil guy. You have Art Kulag, who is a guy who's asleep.
I like his quest a lot.
Yeah, it's basically the recruitment quest for Halsin.
Yeah, but you don't know that when you first see him.
Yeah. And yeah, you have to find the person who has his loot, get his loot, bring it back, and wake him up with it.
This quest marker inadvertently put me in a really annoying fucking place for a fight because I went in the wrong direction, which means I didn't have a lot of mobility, and that fucker casts Arms of Hadar.
Yeah. Man, Arms of Hadar and Hunger of Hadar are actually pretty fun spells. Hunger of Hadar is...
Sorry, I believe it's Hunger. It's the AoE spell is what I meant.
Yeah, Hunger of Hadar is the AoE one that does cold damage and makes difficult terrain.
Yeah,
it's great.
I don't know about you, Rick, but I get very limited use out of Area of Denial spells in this game, but for some reason it bothers me a lot because the computer just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, the computer just lays it down because... It's always a criticism I've had of these games where enemies don't need to survive, but you do.
Yeah.
So enemies will just friendly fire till the end of time because it doesn't matter, because they don't need to live past that encounter. Yeah. Whereas, you've got one character, usually. In this, you've got, like, 4. But, yeah. Actually, if you're doing the assault on Moonrise at the end, you've got to keep Jaheira alive because she loves running into danger, and you can't get her up from downed because she just dies.
Fortunately, every time I've run that encounter, if I haven't gotten the thing where she's like treated like a minion, which is weird, but whatever, she tends to prioritize wild shape, so that gives her a bit more durability.
Yeah, a little bit. It gives her another little bubble of health, because other than that, she's basically just got wild shape and like that one level 4 ice thing spell.
Yeah, which is really good if you build around it, but otherwise it's kind of shit. But I'd rather cast a level 4 fireball, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Or a summon spell, because she's got a couple of those as well, and those are pretty fun.
Yeah, one of my favorite... I had House in my party during the end game, because turns out I actually really like fucking Moondruid, who figures. One of my favourite things was to summon Major Elemental, and then wild shape into an owlbear, and then it's just like, Halsin's on autopilot, he's fucking shit up.
Yep. Like, even the little dryad that you can make, like, she's pretty good against, what's-his-face, Cazador, because his strength save is really low. So you just have the dryad use the spike growth and restrain, and he just stays there. It's great.
She's also weird because she gets a secondary summon, which I thought was bizarre.
Yeah. So she gets like a CR4 creature, which is not massively amazing, but he's still a creature. So like he can just be places and use like threaten things for the purposes of rogues and whatever.
Well, it's very much the case of whenever it comes to a summon, I always do this thing where first 3 turns I want them to do damage, and after the 3rd turn, if they're still alive, I'm like, anything else this person does is a bonus. I'm putting them in the middle of this group of enemies, and hopefully they wail on him instead of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the 1st turn is still a pretty good way of doing that, because the health that the summons have is more than the health that you'd restore with a spell.
Yeah, healing feels very weak in this game.
It's weak in 5th ed. Like, it's by design, healing is weak. So essentially combats are on a timer, and then you have to rely on out of combat healing after the combat, which by design usually takes longer. In BG3 they cut down things that take longer, like short resting and the prayer of healing that Shadowheart gets. These are meant to be like 10 minutes for prayer of healing and an hour for a short rest, but I think they did the right thing by making them instant, just making an out of combat thing.
Well, could you imagine like having to fucking have a cutscene every time you short rested.
Well, it would just be the long rest cutscene, but like you do it out in the wild.
Yeah, but could you imagine, like, how often do you short rest, Rick? Fucking often, I imagine. It would get annoying very fast. People would break their X buttons trying to skip it.
Yes, they would. Or now A buttons, seeing it's now on the Xbox as well.
I'm not fucking pandering to them.
But yeah, you got Art Kulak is the big one. Roland is in the last light if you rescued the tieflings and led them here.
Okay, do you want to...
He's drowning his sorrows because half the tieflings got captured.
Yeah, including his brother and sister, which leads me to a funny story a friend told us because I rolled my eyes because he was doing a co-op run and they fucked up the Roland side quest, and I don't blame them. It's very easy to fuck up because, if you don't happen to break off when you get to that point and explore a little, you will miss it and he will die. But yeah, that happened and they found out it happened and they were like, oh, we want to save that. So they reverted to a 5-hour-old save.
Yep.
I'm just saying, they can do what they want. It's their life, it's their game. They can waste as much time as they like. I would have just been like, well, I guess in this one, Roland's fucking dead. Whatever, let's move on.
Yep. He does have a pretty good end game in Act 3 if you do manage to rescue him there, though.
Yes, I'm aware. I managed it in my one and only completion.
Yeah, on my Dark Urge, he didn't make it that far. Shock horror.
I think it's impossible to get him to survive in a dark... Well, not impossible, but... because if he stays with the tieflings in the grove, he's going to get killed during the goblin attack. If he doesn't, he automatically dies on the road.
Yeah, and if for some reason you're Dark Urging and not... killing the tieflings and send them to Moonrise. Well, when you try to kill everyone in Moonrise, he's one of the casualties as well.
Yes, but you don't actually have to kill everyone in Moonrise, do you? Because that just happens automatically if you kill Isabel.
Oh yeah, it happens automatically. Like, here's the thing. I wasn't intending to kill Isabel, but then she just died to normal attacks. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess this is how it goes this way.
Okay, this is very interesting, Rick, because I've also heard so many people complain about this on the subreddits, where during the fight, she gets surrounded very easily, and I guess I just got lucky every time I did this, because she never got surrounded. However, I also attribute this to always having Gale and Fireball.
Yeah. I typically don't have a lot of AoE in Baldur's Gate 3, because it tends to be, apart from in Halsin's recruitment quest, AoE isn't as good as it is in a regular game, because things tend to space out pretty well.
Yeah.
Whereas in Halsin's recruitment quest, I did not know how much I was missing AoE because it was incredibly hard for a single target party.
Yeah, I had to retry that mission twice because the first time I reloaded and I was right outside the fucking portal because it was my quick save and I was like, fuck. So I had to reload a save that was like 20 minutes earlier and go, right, cool. Shadowheart, yep, you've got your Spirit Guardians. Gale, Fireball, awesome. Fuck it, Will, you've also got Fireball, but only twice, so screw it.
Better than nothing, yep. And even without, he's got freaking 2B Eldritch Blast.
True, but okay, as good as Eldritch Blast is, especially when you get two of them, it just doesn't feel as impactful as a Fireball. And yes, I know totally. I sound like a fucking wizard player, fucking fight me.
Yeah, totally, like 2d10 is less than like 8d6.
But also that AD6 is... AD6? 8d6 is to like 10 people.
Oh yes, totally. Yeah. I've been mostly using Lightning Lol Cannon when I do my AoEs, because it's very easy to line it up, and normally it's with Gale being a Evocation Wizard and Tempest Cleric. And you can just go, click the Tempest button of, instead of 4d12, it just does 48.
Yeah, that's, I could see that being broken. Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, it's very fun. It's like everything in that direction is dead. I have accidentally killed a couple of just roaming random non-combatants in Act 3 with that, but oh well.
Does the Evocation Master not affect NPCs then? It only affects party members?
Yeah, apparently it only affects blues and greens. It doesn't affect yellows.
Huh, fair enough. I mean, that kind of makes sense, but it also feels like a bit of an oversight. But then again...
It is a bit of an oversight.
But then again,
feels like it, yeah.
The way the description and the flavour of it is, he purposefully decides not to do that to the people he chooses not to do it to, which means if he didn't even know there was some fucker walking 2 blocks away, that fucker's gone.
Yeah, I tell you exactly where it was. You know where you rescue Volo?
Yes.
Down by the docks. Yeah, I shot a lightning bolt, and I didn't even know the lightning bolt went over the water and onto the next pier, and I just killed one of the freaking fishermen on the next pier.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but isn't that spell 120 feet?
Yeah, I think so. But like, I thought it ended at the pier, and I didn't know it went over the water. Like, I didn't even think to look on land that existed beyond the abyss.
Yeah, there's an encounter where you can't use fire. Well, you can use fireball, but it'd be a mistake.
Oh yeah, totally. After the first time, I did the thing of have one party member initiate the conversation, have another one just sneak by and steal all the barrels. Because Volo is very easy to kill in that encounter.
Yeah, I
don't think Volo shows up in Act 2, does he?
No, because he fucks off to Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
He's one of the few people. He's one of the few people who says, "I'll meet you at Baldur's Gate," and actually fucks off straight there.
Yeah.
My theory is that he probably bumped into Elminster before you did and got Elminster to do him a solid.
Or he just chugged a million invisibility potions and just sneaks on by through the absolute camp that we're told you can't get through there because there's a bunch of absolutists in an army.
I don't know.
That's their way of saying, don't go to Act 3 right now. You got to do Act 2 now.
Oh, I never actually tried doing that because I was like, I didn't want to accidentally fucking skip Act 2, so I was just like, oh, that's Baldur's Gate. I probably shouldn't go there, so I turned around.
Yeah, if you try and go there, you get told, oh, there's a million fucking cultists there. Like, let's not.
I'm just reminded of the dialogue of Astarion in Act 1, where it's like, there's hundreds of goblins, and Astarion just goes, oh, she's right, killing them's gonna take for hours. We should just leave. Obviously, I'm not Neil Newborn. I can't do the line justice, but you know.
Yeah, neither can I. And apparently no one else can because he's got his performance of the year for it. So, and very well deserved. We got, and then Moonrise Towers is the other like main hub. You've got a bunch of baddies there. Zarel is in charge of the rank and file, but everyone defers to the Kethric Thorm.
Yeah, is Kethric Thorm a callback to another Baldur's Gate game, or is it something that happened between games?
I think it's between games, but I could be wrong. Like, Jaheira says that she's one of the ones that killed him the first time round.
Because I knew Seravok was the main villain of Baldur's Gate 1, and I was like, is Kethric a big deal in 2? Because I've not touched 2, and I've not looked it up because I want to try 2 at some point.
It sounds like the kind of person that would, because, like, him having an arc of being a Selûnite that becomes a Sharan and then swerving into Myrkul sounds like the kind of thing that a villain that's not just for this game would have done. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you just have him as, like, why have Shah? Well, obviously for the Gauntlet of Shah. But, like, it feels like switching gods twice. What kind of god would be the one that would trust a guy who switched gods twice?
I mean, have you seen who Myrkul hangs out with?
Oh yeah, the dead fucking 3.
Like, he's working with the other 2, despite knowing that the other 2 are planning to betray him, and planning to betray the other 2 himself. They all know what's up, they just don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah.
Also, Kethric says it best. Like, Kethric is... The only reason Kethric turned his back on both gods, and this is how I read into it, as well as it being explicitly stated for Myrkul, is that god gave him something that he can't possibly have obtained otherwise. I don't know why he turned his back on Selûne to go to Shah, but that just tends to be what happens by the looks of things in the story. It happens both ways. In fact, depending on how you play Shadowheart's story, it can happen here.
Yes.
I think they constantly make mention how it's two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. I think for going to Shah, it's because he was a Selûnite, and when both his wife and daughter died, he became so emo that he just ended up having to turn to Shah because that's what Selûnites do when they turn emo.
I guess. With Myrkul, he says it just before you fight him. He says, Myrkul has bought my undying loyalty by giving me the one thing I want, and that is my daughter back to life. Even though Isabel fucking hates it.
Unless you send her to him, in which case she gets super brainwashed.
Oh boy, that's depressing. I didn't know that was a thing, because obviously I didn't do it.
You can tell she's super brainwashed because her eyes are like on green fire when she's all like a doting daughter.
I'm hella curious. Like, I'm gonna have to do a stupid evil run at some point, because no matter how evil you are, the plot demands that you kill the three, because otherwise the plot won't end.
The exception is Gortash. You don't kill Gortash if you ally with him.
But someone else does. Good to know.
Yeah, he just kind of dies in the approach to the finale. He just gets offed because he needs to be dead and the Netherstone needs to be yours.
Fair enough then.
If
I'm gonna have to put a fucking spoiler alert in the description because that's twice now.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kill Dame Aelin. You probably shouldn't.
This isn't something I've ever done. I thought Shadowheart was going to fucking do it my first time, so I did the persuasion check. I went, 25? That's high!
Yeah, so if you try to persuade her not to do it, and fail, then she does it. But if you say nothing, then she doesn't do it.
Man, that's interesting. Could you imagine being a Dark Urge during that, not saying anything? So she swerves out of it and she doesn't kill Dame Aelin. Could you imagine I can imagine the conversation just going, hey, you're a pussy.
I think Minthara pretty much sums it up like that as well. It's like, it would have been better for us if she'd have claimed her birthright, but it's better for her that she didn't.
Minthara's in this weird place where her worldviews are fucked, but she's still adorable and kind in the weirdest way.
Yeah, it's so weird that she's so kind for a Menzo Baranzan drow.
Except for Tegel, as we've established.
Yeah.
Like, everybody else is like, oh, darling, oh, precious. Cuts Tegel, you fucking donkey.
Oh, man, I was watching some Gordon Ramsay last night as well. Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know if it's... Go on, sorry.
I think the only thing with Gale is just because he's a wizard and she just doesn't like wizards and she just tars him with the same brush.
I mean, but the annoying thing is, she's right, because the thing she says is, wizards, they usually don't live long, and if they do, they're determined to blow themselves up. And then 5 minutes later, Gale's like, I got this bomb in my chest, and Mistra wants me to blow myself up, and I think I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And it's just like...
The easiest way to get him not to do it is not to bring him to that fight.
Well, even so, I brought him, because of course I did, I brought him the second time. The first time I had Will, because I thought Duke Ravengard was going to be there, and he was, so it got me some good dialogue there. The second time I brought Gale, and Gale's like, well, this is it then, I guess I should blow myself up. And you don't even need to do a persuasion check, you can just say, I don't think you should blow yourself up right now, Gale, mostly because there's no way for me and the other two to escape, and we don't want to die. And you don't even have to convince Gale. Gale's just like, that's a good point, and I like you guys.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, he still wants to blow himself up, just not then.
Other things at Moonrise, Araj Odobla. She's a blood merchant.
Yeah. I missed this in my first playthrough.
If you have Gale in your party, he can just point out that she's a blood merchant from a house of drow that should be extinct. Oh. And she goes, oh, yes, very astute of you. And every other potion that you make from a party member's blood after that gets you a little gold bonus.
A little what bonus?
Gold bonus.
Oh, okay.
So if you are wanting those potions, go with Gale first. But Astarian's potion is the best one because it gives you +2 strength permanently.
That is good. However, I don't want any... it doesn't feel right to have your blood taken by this woman.
Yeah, fair enough. And also, I did it, and then later on in Act 3, when I had a glitch fight, all my camp characters just drank those potions and just used all my fucking consumables.
Yeah,
a pain in the ass.
So in Act 2 as well, if you're doing the Lae'zel romance, you might access this slightly earlier, but it happened in Act 2 for me, where it's like, we've got to fight each other now because that's how gift be. I got my arse beat because I happen to be a sorcerer, so yeah. But the thing that fucked me off is she used her potion of heroic speed or whatever, the one that gives you haste for 3 turns.
Yeah.
So I got really fucking annoyed because that potion is, I'm saving that for boss fights, you bitch.
Yeah, those are a limited resource, you asshole.
And so I thought, well, fuck it, I'm going to chug a health potion because I was a bit low on health. And then Lae'zel said, well, she didn't go, she did that fucking weird noise she does, that chick,
chick, yeah.
And called me a cheater for using potions. And I'm like, bitch, you just did it! It really annoyed me, and I know it shouldn't, but it did.
Yup, man. I glitched out that fight. She just walked back to her bedroll with her tail between her legs because I crit smited her.
Oh, okay, cool. If you lose to her, it's really adorable because she's like, I should just end this now, but I don't want to. I don't want to hurt you anymore. And it's just like, oh my days, I Lae'zel, you're adorable. Lae'zel is a great character. Like, I know people shit on Lae'zel because she's quote-unquote rude to you, but it's like, fuck me, man. There's a thing called character growth, and if you don't have the character with you, they're not going to grow, and you're not going to see what they turn into. Everyone is better than when they started by the time you get to Act 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think someone pointed out with Lae'zel, you meet her as a scared girl not long out of training on the worst day of her life, and she still tries to save you.
Yeah.
The way that she knows best.
Like, when you first meet her, she ambushes you, and she's like, I'm going to kill you, Thrall. 2 seconds later, she realizes you're not a Thrall, and she goes, she's a warrior. She knows how to hide how she's feeling. That's basically the brunt of it. Because she doesn't act all scared and all friendly. And I think because a lot of people like Shadowheart, and her reaction to Shadowheart is, we should just leave her. She's not doing that because she hates Shadowheart at that point. That's a whole different discussion, is their fucking relationship. But at the beginning, she doesn't have any hatred towards Shadowheart. It's just pragmatism.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely.
Just know you're on video game time.
Exactly, man. If I am convinced that if you could open the machine with a single press of a button, Lae'zel would have just been like, "Cool, do that, and let's move." But unless you're a wizard or not necessarily a spellcaster, you're very unlikely to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, ran over. It's just I feel like Lae'zel. The amount of people who say with glee, "Oh, I just killed Lae'zel," and it's like, okay, you're allowed to do that. It's your game. It doesn't affect me. But you're missing out on such a good character story.
Yeah. I heard someone say that they missed half the characters because, Lae'zel was rude, so I killed her, and then I had Karlach, but she left me when I did the goblin quest to kill all the tieflings, and then
I saw this video yesterday because someone said, "What about Will? Did you meet Will?" And the guy just blanked for like 5 seconds. Like, I don't think I met Will.
Yeah, I think I killed him in the village, yeah. Although it means they probably weren't playing Dark Urge, so they didn't take Gale's hand.
I like Gale too much to do that. However, every time, because it's so funny, every time I get to that rock, I slap his hand.
If you take his hand when you've got different people, like, I think Astarian's like, "Oh man, are we doing murders? Okay, cool." Shadowheart's like, "You were meant to take a hand, not what? You were meant to lend a hand, not take one." And Will's like, "Oh, that poor man." I've not done it with Karlach yet, because you'd have to avoid it and then come back to do it with Karlach.
Well, you did the same thing for Will.
Well, yeah, with Will as well. But yeah, the Zarel is, as we say, the big boss, not quite general. She can flirt with you. She can show you like a little idea of how much she enjoys the bliss of the absolute. And yeah, the instant kill powers. Like, she sends you to go get Balthazar, who is currently in the Gauntlet of Shar.
Very quick. The game gives you the easiest choice ever. I've only ever spared the goblins once, and that was to get the achievement for letting Zaza survive all the way past Act 2, and then I instantly reloaded because fuck if I'm explaining why I let the goblins go. But I really do love being given the different execution choices for the goblins, because you got the overly harsh one of you all have to stab yourselves. You've got the stop breathing, which harsh but quick. Every single time I've done this, I've always picked I will fight you, and the goblins go, "Oh, well, that's not fair." And like, there's no follow-up dialogue option choice, but I want so desperately to be able to say, this is the fairest chance you're gonna get.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you beat me, you go. You're not gonna beat me, but there's a chance.
Karlach approves of both I'll fight you and letting them go.
Sure, I see no reason to ever let them go here, because you're trying to infiltrate, so therefore you get a free pass for being a dick in this scene.
Yeah, totally. You're expected to. Like, it actually harms your reputation if you let them go.
They're also...
I think the way that you can play it off is like, oh yeah, well, we didn't send them with a lantern, did we? The curse will take care of them. No point in, like, having to clean a blade after that.
I've never let them go, so I didn't know it was an option, but that's a great fucking bullshit excuse, isn't it?
Yeah. The curse will get them. It's fine.
But yeah, I see no... Like, okay, you don't want to paint every single race with a certain generic alignment, because that's dangerous territory. However, these are goblins you know and were super up for murdering children about 5 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, they're up for murdering children at all points. Like, in this, the goblins are always chaotic evil. Like, the closest thing to good goblins you have are the one that's in the Society of Brilliance, the hobgoblin guy.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing, Rick. I make a distinction between hobgoblin and goblin.
Oh yeah, they're just goblinoids. I think bugbears are technically goblinoids as well, so the bugbear guard in the circus is a good guy as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about the circus, but we have to. So let's move back to Moonrise. I'll just say it right now. If there was an option to legitimately do something with Zarel, I would. As in, how do I prove my loyalty? I guess I'm getting tied to a bed. Oh no. It's like,
well,
no,
the
stop,
watches.
don't. Like, as long as it was just watching, I wouldn't give a fuck. It'd be a bit weird, but whatever.
Considering you pretty much did the same thing in Act 1, potentially, with the ogre and the bugbear.
The only time I do that is if I happen to have a Starin in my party when I do it, because when you open the door, he just goes, "That sounds disgusting. Can I open it?" I think everyone else just says there's clearly something going on behind there that we do not want to see or interrupt.
Yep. Meanwhile, Kethric Thorm's opening scene is an absolute mic drop, really, isn't it?
Okay, I probably use this more often than I should. However, 2 words spring to mind. Character established.
Yes, absolutely. I think he's got the number 1 intro of any villain in all of Baldur's Gate 3.
Let me think for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the other ones you get Orin and you get Gortash, and they're just kind of there in the preamble to the Kethric boss fight.
I mean, even a step further, the Elder Brain's in that scene.
Oh, yeah. The Elder Brain's in that scene, and it just kind of fucks off and just floats away.
I have to go now, my people need me.
Literally. So it's just a masterclass in
show don't tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Because these goblins, they did their absolute damnedest to put him down, and I think you said before, it feels like something that rolled 2 nat 20s and still needed to be bullshit through.
I mean, I've seen Kethric Thorm's AC.
Yeah. You can get.
I've got Kethric Thorm's AC.
Yeah. His armor is one of the ones that's useful to all the way through to endgame.
Yeah, and I had it on my paladin.
Yeah. The only thing that's different is you don't have the jewel on the chest, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's a shame. I understand why, but it does make the armor look 10 times cooler.
It does. And I'd say that J.K. Simmons really knocked it out of the park with his voicing of Kethric as well. It's fantastic.
Here's the thing, is I know J.K. Simmons is a talented actor and a talented voice actor. I didn't know he could do this.
Yeah, this chilling voicing that's not just bombastic shouting.
Yeah, because I'm used to hearing him as either A, Cave Johnson, B, fucking J. Jonah Jameson, or C, Omni-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I think he kind of gets there with Omni-Man sometimes, but normally he's
shouting at people, "I'm gonna kill you, bitch!"
Yeah.
Omni-Man is not a subtle character.
No. I've seen some of the Mortal Kombat opening lines from Omni-Man, and
good.
I can very definitely hear some Kethric in there. When he's doing his badass boast threats of "I will kill you and then I will laugh" kind of things.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that they've kind of got in common.
Well, weirdly, you can also kind of hear Kethric a bit when he's joking, because there's one with Rain where Rain is like, "I'm going to destroy you," and Omni-Man just laughs and goes, "What, are you gonna rain on me?"
Mm-hmm.
And there's one as well where it was Rain again. He's just like, "I'm going to fill your lungs with water. What are you gonna do then?" And Omni-Man just goes, "I can hold my breath for 24 hours."
Yeah, that's a long time for me to kill you and then just breathe out.
the meme of "That's the neat part, you don't."
Yeah.
That's from
him. Yeah,
that's from his kid going, "So how do you breathe in space?" And it's like, "That's the neat part, you don't. You just hold your breath for a long fucking time."
Yeah.
Omni-Man's dumb. I'm sorry, it's not dumb. It's great, but I need to watch that show.
Yeah, ditto. We're going to be doing a month where we have access to Prime stuff in the future, but just not yet. But yeah, the Gauntlet of Shar. You have Balthazar there.
Could we
I
rewind?
have never not killed. Yeah, sure.
I think we should leave Gauntlet of Shar, because once Gauntlet of Shar is done, we're in the end game of Chapter 2, so it just makes a bit more sense. We've got a few more things to talk about with Moonrise. You kind of brought up Balthazar, so let's touch on him first. You can go to his room to get a moon lantern. If you don't, well, if you come via the Dryder, you have to get this moon lantern, otherwise you don't have one.
Yes. There is also a hidden table where you can unlock his little sub-lab within his office. I've never done this, so it's the only part of Act 2 that I've never been able to explore on the map.
I also haven't.
Apparently, if you are using Gale, you can make an anti-moon lantern and be able to weaponize the curse. So yeah, you use a dead pixie and you infuse it with the shadow curse, and then you can just weaponize the shadow curse from end of Act 2 onwards.
That's fucking evil.
Yeah, it even says so. Like, he gets a curse from Mystra for doing so.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. Or you can purify it, in which case you get a Mystra's blessing.
Okay, fair enough. The reason why I haven't explored Balthazar's room is the first time I went in here on my good playthrough, I instantly triggered a trap, and I just went, oh, fuck that.
Yeah. Like, if you read his journals, it's like, don't fucking touch anything, and then you touch one thing, and it's like, oh, I got Cloud killed. Okay, that's why not to touch anything.
Yeah, because, hey, guess what? There's a unique thing about Balthazar that means if Cloud Kill goes off, it doesn't matter for him.
Yes, because he's super undead. He's got a couple of corpses in his room, so if you press the wrong book, then it just reanimates the corpses. There's also some spikes in the ground that just pop up and like hit you in the arse and you bleed.
Yeah,
he's got a bunch of traps.
Yeah, it was specifically the Cloud Kill trap that I activated, because I went, that room's just a no-go now.
Yeah, I've not managed to open the extra room, but yeah, apparently you can, but I just don't know how.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up, because it might be interesting. Also might be a massive waste of time, but content's content. So there's a few more things in Moonrise we need to deal with. You can meet a bugbear merchant who happened to meet a person called Flo, who Karlach knows.
Yes, so you get some soul coins for the price of having to hear the story of the souls within.
Yeah, and they're all super depressing.
Yeah, the last one is just, her name was blah blah blah, she was 6 years old, and that's all you need from that story. Yeah,
and Karlach, it's interesting to get a bit more info on Karlach, because Karlach straight up just says Flo was kind of a friend, but not as friendly as a demon can be.
Yes.
Yeah. She also gets a big old disapproval hit if you refuse to take the soul coins.
Yeah, because she knows that she's stronger with the soul coins, and like the souls have been consumed anyway, so you might as well use them.
I've never actually used the soul coins, not because of any moral reason, but because I've just never used them. What do they do? I know they beef her up, but I don't know the specific buffs, and I could never be asked to do it.
I think that thing where she sets on fire after fighting the paladins. I think she just does that.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, she gets like a fire aura that just does more fire damage and stuff.
That's kind of depressing. Again, it's really weird because I give her all of the soul coins I get because I'm not selling them.
Well, yeah. Same with Infernal Alloy. Like, she holds the Infernal Alloy because if I ever need it, she's going to be with me.
Yeah.
And then you technically only basically need 2 in the entire game. And anything that you pick up in Act 3 is just, okay, this is basically a coin.
There was this weird part in Act 2 when I spoke to Damon on my most recent playthrough where he said, if you have any exotic materials, I can maybe do something. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I did not have any exotic materials. However, I still got dialogue to give him them. So I did. And he just gave me gear. And I went, this is cool. I didn't fucking earn it, but it's cool.
Yeah. That's one of the better gears as well. Like, it's basically, I think the idea is you give him Infernal Alloy and it's just anything that you don't need for Karlach and extras that you picked up, he just turns into parts of the flawed Helldusk set. Which, yeah, if you go into Act 3 in a certain place, you can get the real Helldusk set.
Oh, okay. I've not done that, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's a particular house.
Okay, cool. Is it One of Hope, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, that's why it's the real Helldusk set, because it's actually in hell.
Yeah. Cool. We've got the there's not really much else on the base floor. You can go into the kitchen and talk to the woman in there, and she's trying to teach. She's really hype about animals, so she's teaching these gnolls to be people, which is an admirable goal if it was, not someone in this cult.
Yeah, it's kind of cute, except that she's using illithid brain powers to enslave them.
Yep.
And if you free them, then they join you on your side during the assault on Moonrise.
I didn't know you could free them. That's cool.
Yeah, so if you kill her, if you free them from her control, they kill her, and then they just hang out in that room, and then they join you in the assault.
I fucking love that, because to me that implies everybody in the castle knows that woman died, and they're just like, we're not going in the kitchen because there's gnolls in there, and we're not dealing with it.
Yeah. And because there was 3 of them, like the ogre that's there for the assault just prioritized them, so it just basically removed the ogre from the fight. It was great.
Yeah, but the ogre is such a non-factor at that level.
Oh yeah.
Also, with the amount of dudes you have, the ogre might as well. That fight is really until you go into the Mind Flayer colony underneath Moonrise, the fights are real nothing fights, except for maybe Kethric at the top, because if Dame Allen rolls poorly, it might be a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, but even then, she's invincible.
Did I say Dame Allen?
Alan Carr.
I was thinking of fucking Alan, fucking Davies.
Alan Davies.
I think that would be funny.
Or Alan Rickman. Yeah. just Alan Davies coming round and just thinking, the Stephen's not around. I can't troll anyone as easily. It's not as fun trolling Sandy.
Outside the castle, if you go around the back, you can find a second hairless... There's 2 hairless cats in this zone. There's one in the inn, who's majestic as fuck, but a bit of a knobhead. You got this one, who boasts how she's a predator, and she kind of backs it up, because she's killed like 5 tadpoles.
Oh, yeah. And these tadpoles are actually non-trivial.
Yeah.
And you can egg her on, and she's like, yes, I will continue to murder them.
Yeah, no, you straight up... if you've got animal speech, you can straight up say, make sure you fucking extra fuck them up. And she's like, I don't need you to tell me what to do. Don't tell me what to do when I'm already doing it.
Yeah. That's a real good way to get you to not want to do it anymore. Yeah. Whereas the one in the one in Last Light is like His Majesty, and his opening line is hiss. I say hiss.
It's so funny. I love it. But yeah, before we leave Moonrise, the last thing is obviously the prison. There's a few things to do down here, and a lot of it depends on how you got it. I think the deep gnomes are here no matter what. If you save the tieflings, a few tieflings are here. If you've got Minthara alive, she's down here being mega tortured for some fucking reason. Because it's very weird, because they want to psychically torture her, despite the fact they're just going to kill her anyway. It's just cruelty for cruelty's sake, which they're the evil faction. They're supposed to sort of emphasize this sort of thing, but here's the actual proof that here's someone we're condemning to death, but before we kill them, we're just gonna fuck with them, because why not?
Yeah, and this is someone who's been entirely loyal, just that she failed.
But arguably that's the same case for the goblins, although granted one of the goblins did try to kill Kethric, so never mind.
Yeah, if the Minthara's not there, they just blame Minthara.
Yeah, well, it's one of those weird things where technically speaking military failings should fall on the general. However, what the fuck is she supposed to do with a bunch of shitling goblins?
And like the other generals of the goblin camp are obviously answering to Minthara. Like even Dror Ragslin, who's like the actual warlord of the goblins.
Yeah, but he's competent.
Yeah, well, except at magic, but that's fine too.
Yeah, but I find it weird that if you were on the goblin side, that Minthara's the only one here, because in theory, shouldn't the other two also be here, because they're her sub-generals?
Like even actually, Chieftain Gut, even if you are on the goblin side, she still tries to kill you.
Yeah, but if you don't talk to her, her quest just goes away and she fucks off with the rest of the goblins.
Yeah, fair enough. It's also possible to just go around the goblin camp, killing all the rest of the goblins, even if you are on the goblin side, for XP.
But no, the XP is pointless.
Yep. Although you might need it if you're Dark Urge, because there's a fair few things that you're not going to do.
Yes and no, because I think you will almost always be level 4 minimum by the time you finish whatever the fuck side you fall on with the Grove. And level 4 is the perfect level to go into the Underdark and get a couple of levels there.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if you're a Dark Urge, you could straight up just massacre the Myconids, and that's perfectly in character.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you going down the mountain path's a great idea at level 4 because you got the GIF, you got the Undead, which are big fuck off levels anyway, but then alternatively you got the GIF Yankee, which are all level 6 and do GIF Yankee bollocks.
Yeah, although you can mostly get through it. Like, you've got Lae'zel with you, you can persuade your way in.
It's not the way in I'm worried about.
Lathander. Yeah, you can pick up the blood of the Lathander, and in that zone you can fast travel, so you can just fast travel out and leave.
Yeah, but you still okay, but that fight at the end of the chapel is still annoying.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, down in the prison, you've got the tieflings and the deep dwarves, the deep gnomes. You can free them both, send them out on a little sloop. If you then follow them, you can like wait for their induction back into the Last Light Inn, because they're just holding up the little tad and seeing if it reacts, and none of them have been tadded, which is great. And this is when you can like resume Roland's quest, because he's popped out to save them, while as these two have now gotten home essentially. And I got this really weird glitch where Roland was sat on his bench again after I'd rescued him from out in the wild, and these two were just hanging around going, oh man, where's Roland? And they were just looking at each other and not recognizing that they were there. So I had to reload the zone.
Yeah, this rescue can go very tits up very quickly if you don't actually plan for it, no matter how good you are. When you talk to Wolfram?
Oh yeah, Wulbren, you're the
leader
of the leader of this Fifth Neblin.
Yeah, he says throw us a hammer, and then you throw him a hammer and it doesn't trigger anymore. So instead, what you do is you send 2 characters with blunt weapons, you make them jump up the thing and go around, you put them behind both cells, you position your other 2 people in front of the cell doors, and you, through careful timing, you break both walls down at the same time, so the deep gnomes and the tieflings all start running to the boat, and then you bring those 2 characters through the cells, because then the cells magically open, because the game's bullshit, and you got a bit of a fight with the guards on your hand. There is a lot of area denial spells in these guys' arsenals, and I fucking hate it.
Yep.
And some of them have very high AC.
You can also slowly dismantle the guards.
Well, you could, but it feels more like a prison break my way.
Sure, yeah. Like, I dismantle the guards, like, kind of one by one. If you go up to the top floor of the guard tower, you kind of get followed, because one of the guards goes, oh, what are you doing up here? And that's when you can basically kill them with no witnesses.
Sure.
And then you can close the doors and kill the foreman lady, and then there's fewer of them outside.
Yeah, I usually fight it as a normal fight. That being said, I also there's a bit of a problem with this method in that when everybody runs back to the boat, if they spend 2 or more turns there, their AI just goes, fuck it, we want to die, and they charge back to the cells. Specifically, Rolbrum's a fucker for it, and he's the one who definitely has to survive.
Yes. I guess I've never done Barkus route on my current playthroughs, because I just left him too long and he just died on the windmill. But apparently he goes to Last Light, and then they have a nice little reunion with Wulbren. Okay,
so if you free Barkus, you actually meet him in the Underdark, because he's been captured by those Dwegar.
Oh yeah. So you have to free the gnomes from the Dwegar when you're doing True Soul Near, don't you?
Yeah. So you do that, and then he's like, "Oh, where's Rolbrum? He's been captured. We're just gonna fuck off without him." And Barkus gets all righteous. Speak to Barkus again, and he's like, "I need to save Rolbrum. You tell him that you've tried twice now and you fucked up. Maybe just let me do it." And he's all pissy, and then he goes, "Fine, I'll go rest in your camp." Then he fucks off to Last Light once you get there, and yeah, he gives you loads of bombs.
Nice.
He just gives them to you, saying, if you're freeing my friend, you might need these.
Cool.
So he's not incompetent. He's just, he's not an adventurer. He's not a fighter.
Yeah, he's not lucky. So I also didn't realize that there was content back in the cells during the assault until the second run through.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you'd not done the rescuing the good guys before that, reload and rescue the good guys.
Yeah. I think that sums up Moonrise. Before Shah, I think the only thing left to talk about is the free form fucks.
Oh yeah, you've got Geringoth, you've got the one who farts himself to death, and you've got the surgeon.
Yeah. All of these you can do without fighting, but I didn't know that.
Yes. So the one who farts himself to death, you can just drink and drink and drink, and then if you take enough successful saves, you just outdrink him and he explodes explodes. I've never not done this.
Yeah, so I've done on my first playthrough. I fought 2 of these. The toll housekeeper I've never fought because I didn't know she existed for my first few runs, and every other one I've just gone, oh, I could just talk you into killing yourself, which is actually kind of sad.
It is a bit, yeah. The surgeon, you can make him kill himself by saying, either you can have him lie down and have the other acolytes dissect him, or you can get him to show people how to enucleate themselves.
Oh, okay. I've only ever gotten the nurses to murk him. That being said, the first time I fought him, I never want to fight him again.
Yep. Apparently, there's an achievement if you do the fight for doing it before any of the nurses do the mechanic.
That's incorrect. It's the achievement is for killing him before he gets to use the scalpel.
Okay. That's the one then.
Because it would be almost impossible to do it without the nurses doing the effects, because he does it once a turn. It's the nurses giving him a different weapon.
Sure. Okay.
Which, yeah, I managed to get this, but it didn't feel good. That being said,
so there's that. There's another achievement in the Kethric fight of do it without him getting health back from any of the shades that he summons.
Oh, that's specifically as the Merkel.
Oh yeah, the Merkel part. Yeah,
which is easy to do if you have Aelin.
Yep.
But yeah, back to the surgeon. In that area, you also you likely would have met Arabella before then, and you find her parents, and it's a sad time.
You do. It is a sad time because it feels like there's no way for these two to survive at all.
That's because there isn't.
No, it's a damn shame.
You get this awful bit of dialogue in the camp where Withers is like, you have to go on your own and do this own adventure, and ultimately he is correct. However, Arabella just goes, please don't throw me out, and my immediate response every time is, I'm not going to make you leave, and then Withers yells at me.
Although Withers does throw her a bone, he just shows her a glimpse of her future, and she goes, "What? Shit, that's me!" And he just does the grandpa nod, and she's like, "Oh shit, I'm not sad anymore."
It's one of those where there's a reason why I say Withers is ultimately correct. However, if a child is crying, please don't make me leave, I'm not going to say, sorry, get the fuck out.
Yeah. And also, this is one of the ones where you get a ring from her that gives you a spell that's not in the player's handbook. There's a fair few items like this. There's an absorb elements cloak. This one gives you the Shadow Blade spell, which is a pretty cool spell. It does basic. It's like 2d8 shadow damage. You get advantage when you're not in bright light.
Okay.
And it can be thrown.
Yeah, fair enough. Speaking of items, this is the first chapter where you actually get cloaks.
Yes, unless you're a Dark Urge.
No, because you find cloaks in. Oh wait, do you mean because you get a cloak earlier as Dark Urge?
Yeah, you get a cloak earlier as Dark Urge.
Okay, sure.
As soon as you kill the Bard, whichever one you kill, you get a cloak that gives you invisibility for 1 turn after you get a kill.
That's fucking cool. Flavor-wise, it's not the most useful thing in the world, but it's a cool fucking thing.
The cloak stayed in my party. Even if it wasn't on my main character, it stayed in the party until endgame.
Yeah, stick that on the rogue.
Yeah, it's good. But yeah, the best cloak in the game is arguably the Cloak of Protection.
Yeah.
And it costs like 50 quid. It's nothing.
The only downside is you can only get one from the looks of things.
Yeah, there's a Cloak of Protection and there's a Ring of Protection. I think the ring you get from Moll for stealing the idol in Act 1.
Yeah, which I've never done because it seems like a shit thing to do.
Yeah, it's a shit thing to do, but once you've made peace with the druids and sent the tieflings off, you might as well. So
okay, you can do that if you're a dickhead, that's fine. But, again, I play morally good characters.
Yeah. I think at this point, with Halsin with you, he'd probably think that you were kind of canny and he'd probably think it was funny that you'd done it rather than, be angry at you.
I mean, I don't think Halsin gives a shit. Halsin's philosophy on Sylvanas is it's not localized in an idol. That's fucking stupid. That's probably what he'd say.
Yeah, almost exactly. Yeah, I like that. What else is there in Act? Oh yeah, the Garingoth is the last one of the Thorms, and like you say, you can talk her to death. You can give her money, and if you give her 5 grand, then she gives you a unique scroll. It's basically flesh to stone, but it turns someone into gold.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. The first time I encountered her, I gave her a gold piece, and the animation they decided to do is the coolest animation I've seen in game, because you just flick her a coin.
Yep, and then she keeps asking for more.
Yeah, and you're just I love the question of how much do you actually actually want? And she never gives you a definitive answer, just more.
Yeah, all of it is what she wants. Yeah, if you kill her, you can get arguably one of the most powerful weapons in the game.
Oh, yeah, this is your bullshit hack thing where you can reverse pickpocket gold to someone, isn't it?
Yeah, so I've not done the thing with it, but yeah, you can do this. It does one extra damage for every 300 gold someone has, which for you is a big deal because you probably got like multiple thousands on you right now.
Yeah, because you're not putting that in your fucking adventuring chest.
No, that's the one thing you never send to camp is your money.
It doesn't weigh anything. There's no disadvantage.
Oh, it does. I was like really struggling in Act 3 on my main character because I was carrying so much fucking money, and then I realized, oh, it's because of the money. Okay, let Karlak carry the money.
Oh, okay, so I've never had enough gold in this game for it to be an issue.
Yeah, around the 24k mark, it's when it starts weighing like 40 units.
If you have 24k gold, may I recommend, if you're in Baldur's Gate, to buy some of the sweet swag you can only get by throwing money at it.
Yeah.
Man,
pickpocketing.
The thing that fucking pissed me off in Baldur's Gate 3's endgame is they got the dwarf thrower as a weapon you can buy, which is great, but unless you're playing as a dwarf, it's shit.
Yes. Oh, you can always use the mask to change your race into a dwarf temporarily.
No, fuck you, I don't wanna.
Yeah. Apparently you can do that and then change back, and as long as you equipped it while you were that race, it keeps the buff that day.
That's so much effort. Plus, why would... Plus,
I know, right?
I'll be honest with you, that character was using halberds anyway. It was worthless on them. And it's probably worthless on any character I have, even if they were a dwarf. Yep. I just hate the fact it's in the game, because it's so useless unless you're a dwarf.
Similarly, you can do the same thing with the Astral Sword of the Silver Plane. Silver Sword of the Astral Plane. The Silver Plane. Oh, man, a plane of elemental silver. Don't send werewolves there. Oh, man.
You got to sort your mic out or talk clearer, because I didn't get any of that.
Yeah, I was saying you can do the same thing with the Silver Sword of the Astral Plane. Transform into a Githyanki, equip it, get the benefit, and then turn back into yourself.
Or just give it to fucking Lae'zel, because that's what it's meant for.
Oh, yes. Except by endgame, I had 2 of them, because I robbed...
Yeah, because you're a cheater.
I robbed Kithric Thorm, yeah, and had Lae'zel with that sword throughout all of Act 2, most of Act 1. Like, she was a massive powerhouse with that sword. It's fantastic.
Yeah, fair.
It's a +3 sword that does an extra D6. It's great.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't say anything. I just agreed with you.
So the Gauntlet of Shar, we have a bunch of little puzzles. There's a secret puzzle, which is to find the last remaining Dark Justiciar, who is, I believe, polymorphed into a rat. So basically, you have to kill all the rats to be able to kill the last Justiciar. That's how you can do Yurgir's quest without killing him and without getting him to kill himself.
Yeah, I've always just attacked Yurgir, because if you talk to him for too long, Astarion disapproves.
Yeah, I've gotten him to kill himself each time, and if you do get him to kill himself, then you can convince him to help you in the House of Hope.
Okay, sure. It's one of those where, okay, this boss fight is only annoying because they gave him a shit zillion ads.
Yes, yeah, all the Merigons.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even if you are fighting him, it's worth getting him to make the Merigons kill themselves.
Yeah, again, I've never gotten the dialogue option to prompt, so I've just gone, oh, fuck it, and attacked him, because at least then I'm not surprised. That being said, another reason why this fight is difficult is it's one of the few fights that you can't fucking make easier with Fireball.
Yeah, because they're immune to fire, or at least resistant.
I think Yurgir's immune, but the regular fucks are just resistant.
Yeah, sounds about right.
You've also got the fucking, the phase shifter. What the fuck's it called? That's not the right word, is it?
Yeah, Displacer Beast, yeah.
Displacer Beast, that's... What the fuck was I on? Which isn't difficult, but you do have to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's before you get the option to be one.
So you brought up something interesting, which I've done in every subsequent one because it's so much easier, but I didn't realise that you could attack Balthazar here.
Yeah, so I've never not killed him in the room where you meet him.
Okay, so first time I fucking killed Balthazar, I had to do it in the Dame Aelin encounter.
Yeah, and he's got a bunch of skeletons around him, hasn't he, that he reanimates.
He's got a bunch of exoskeletons, but that's not the problem. The problem is there's no fucking walls and all of them push you.
Yes. I've seen some cheeses. Like, one of them is you lure him to the edge and just knock him off. And the way you do that is you pop down a invisibility of some kind, so like a cloud, a darkness or something. He will try to leave the cloud if you do that, and usually will go closer to the edge. They also put a bunch of corpses all in one spot, but with a bunch of barrels. So when he reanimates them, they're all in one spot, and then they just blow up the barrels, get rid of all the ads.
Okay, sure. And, but here's the thing,
apparently
Rick.
His loot is really shit, so you can just knock him off, and you don't really lose much.
Well, the loot shit. Like, the loot shit. He has the same loot. It doesn't change just because of the location. Except he doesn't have the silver bell to summon the golem, but that's worthless anyway, because if you fought Balthazar there, you kill that golem.
Yeah.
It's one of those where I didn't know I was going to have a fight here. I kind of guessed that there was going to be a conflict, but I didn't think it would be a fight, because I looked at the arena or the area at the bottom and I went, you can't have a fight here. Oh, apparently the people writing this game beg to differ.
Yep.
A combination of all the dudes trying to push you off the edge and Balthazar constantly casting Cloud Kill as an area of denial made this fight fucking frustrating. I've never done it since because it's just unnecessarily annoying.
Yep. Yeah, I think the only downside with Balthazar is that that he's coming back, because like he's very obviously some kind of like super lich.
I don't think he's a lich. He's too weak for a lich.
Well, okay, he's too weak for a regular lich, but he's like some kind of prototype lich, in that he's like stitched his body together out of bits.
I don't think he's coming back. I don't see why you think this. Could you please elaborate a bit?
I think he just says that you can kill me, but I'll just be back eventually.
I don't think I've ever heard that dialogue, but also on the flip side, that sounds like he's just lying.
True.
Did you know that, Rick? Did you know characters could just lie?
Yeah.
Also, let's be real. If you kill Kethric, which you do, the fuck's Balthazar going to do on his own?
Yeah. Because Balthazar's the one that reanimated Kethric, I believe.
I wouldn't know. I know it's weird because I thought Merkel was the one who reanimated Kethric because, of their pact.
I think it was... I think Balthazar reanimated Kethric, and then Kethric turned to Merkel, and Merkel reanimated Isabel.
I don't remember seeing anything indicating that. I'm not saying you're wrong. In fact, there's a good possibility we're both wrong.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh yes, in the little bit of catacombs before you get down into the gauntlet, there is a unique buff of overstuffed catacombs or whatever, and if you have a necromancer wizard, this is where you stock up on skeletons or zombies, because you don't need a corpse to use the animate dead spell.
How many can you summon?
Oh, as many as you can. So if you're level 6 necromancer, I think that's 4 with one spell.
Oh, okay, so you can't just constantly reapply the spell.
Yeah, I think you can only have one spell's worth at once, but like if some of them die, you can just go back there, cast it again, then you're back to full.
That's so much effort, though.
Yeah, fair enough. But there is a fast travel point, so...
They're not to the catacombs bit, there isn't. Oh, I suppose it's just outside, but that's 2 load screens.
Yeah, so like if you're down to none of them and you're going to do a long rest anyway, you might as well just do that. Oh, God. I've only done that once, though, because I've only had a...
I was about to say, Rick, that sounds like the most boring way to play this fucking game.
I've only done it once. It was when, before I discovered that you could do scroll inscribing. It's what I did with Gale, because I had him as a necromancer with a little bit of life cleric, and I'm like, oh, okay, you can do this scroll inscribing. Oh, Tempest is way more fun, so he's no longer a necromancer. Other things in there, there's the What Can Silence the Night song, a good old thing where you put a book in a pedestal to get the orbs.
Rick, this fucked me so hard, this fucking puzzle. Do you want to know why?
Did someone else have the book?
No, it's worse than that. So you go to the Silent Library. If you accidentally break that bookcase, you can't get the book, which doesn't sound like a problem. However, if you don't get the book, you can't unlock the thing that gets you the spear. If you don't have the spear, when you go downstairs and you're about to progress, Shadowheart goes, wait, we're beating all the trials, but Charles telling me I need to get this spear. Any option that isn't okay will get you the spear, my friend. She turns on the party and you have to kill her. And it's like, oh cool, boy. I have to reload a save from an hour ago.
Oh man, okay. Yeah, I didn't know this.
Well, I did. Here's the thing. It was driving me crazy because there was the bookcase and it wasn't letting me select it. And I'm like, why not? Oh, because it's fucking destroyed.
Yep. Oh man, that sounds very frustrating.
It was indeed very frustrating, because I was like, we're right there, you're not going to kill Dame Aelin anyway because I'm not going to let you, but she doesn't know that.
Yeah, she has to choose to throw away the spear to get it given back to her.
Oh, it was so annoying. Yeah. Oh, also apparently if you finish the Gauntlet of Shah up without Shadowheart with you, when you leave the next time it makes sense, Shadowheart just betrays the party.
Yeah, sounds about right.
That's what I've been told. I don't know if that's fact because I've not done it.
Yeah, I've only ever brought her with me. On my Dark Urge, I made her into a Dark Justicia. On my regular file, obviously didn't.
The only downside with her redemption route is she then dyes her hair white, which is fine, but she looks better with the black hair. Obviously, I don't tell her that because I'm not a dick, but...
Oh, yeah. Preferred your old hairstyle, mate.
you also get a fun bit of dialogue with Halsin, because Halsin goes, I saw Shadowheart stalking in the night with a knife. Turns out she was just cutting her hair.
That's kind of cute. Oh man.
Well, Halsin is weirdly aggressive to Shadowheart, and it's weird to begin with, but it quickly is like, oh right, because Halsin fucking hates Shah.
Yeah, I get it. I think he's the only one that does as well. Everyone else just kind of accepts that she's a Shah worshipper.
Well, again, it's the fact that everyone's got the tadpole in their head to begin with, and it's like, for better or worse, we're all on the same side, so there's no time for being finicky about this sort of shit. Whereas Halsin doesn't have the tadpole; he has no sense of urgency.
Yeah. And like Minthara's like, man, I don't mind Shadowheart, but Shah's a piece of shit.
Which is weird, because it's not like Lolth is much better.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And like even that is something that Viconia does. She goes straight from Lolth into Shah.
I don't know who?
Viconia de Veer.
Who's that? Sorry.
The Mother Superior.
Okay, remember when I told you I've not done Shadowheart stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm not saying you spoiled anything because you haven't. It's just you're saying a name from the quest, and I don't know who that is.
Okay, she is a name from Baldur's Gate 1 as well, so that's why it's kind of...
Okay, but Baldur's Gate 1 is I did the fucking cutscene where my mentor gets killed. I got 2 new party members, I had a random encounter with wolves, and then the game didn't tell me how to change the AI, and the AI just fought the battle for me, and it sucked.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, what's more in the Gauntlet?
I don't think there is anything else. I haven't done the Secret Dark Justice yet, because I knew there was something up with the rats, but I didn't know what, because I kept talking to them with animal speaking, and they kept being like, fuck off, you're not Shah. And I'm like, I just wanted to talk to the rats, bro. You got the secret room near Balthazar, where if you go into it, you got a fucking Shadow Shrike thing.
Yes.
I forget what it's called. Yes. It's like a giant manta ray that can sneak and...
Cloaker.
Huh?
It's a cloaker, I believe.
If you say so. I don't remember the name. It looks like a giant stingray. It stealths very easily, and it can make duplicates of itself.
Yeah. It's a pain in the arse.
It's a pain in the arse if you don't spot it. If you spot it, you shoot it with an arrow and you get a turn of surprise on it, and it definitely dies.
Oh yeah, it definitely dies. It's kind of funny. There's another couple of puzzles. I think the one that's the biggest pain in the arse is the one where it's the self-same trial where you got to kill your own duplicates. Okay,
so the internet has a cheese for this.
Yeah, send only one person in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the cheese.
Yeah, because otherwise you end up with the Cheater's Bane, which is like -4 to all stats.
Yeah, but this is also like the only fucking combat bit in the Shah. Well, apart from Yergil, but whatever. You've probably done him before now. Like, it's not going to kill you.
Yergil and Balthazar.
It's not going to kill you. You're going to rest before going to Dame Aelin anyway.
Yeah. So it's easy enough to rest it away, but it's really annoying if you don't know that's why you're shit.
Well, here's the thing, Rick. If I ever see a symbol next to my character's name and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I just go to the character record and I go, oh, that's bad.
Well, I always run with a pally, so I've always got like 3, 4, 5 symbols all the time. So
all right,
like I basically stop questioning what symbols are because there's many of them. But yeah, after that you kill or free Dame Aelin. If you free her, then she you get this really uplifting scene where she's like, now friend, we're going to kill Kethric Thorm, and she just flies over the Shadowlands, and Isabel Isabel just looks up and gets a tear in her eye. No, it's not even Isabel, it's Jaheira, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's like, oh, finally, like, because she's like, oh, cool, I'm going to rally the troops now, because it looks like now's the time to kill Kethric.
Yeah.
There are a few little things I want to say here. We skipped two of the trials. One of them's a sneaking trial, which you cheese by just having Astarion do it before offering blood.
Yeah. Have you ever not done that?
I've never not done that. It's pointless. Why? It's such... fuck off, I'm not doing this. The other one is the invisible floor trial, which is the most annoying trial, because some people are like, oh, just do it before offering the blood, and some people... There's a bunch of ways to cheese it that don't work for me.
Yeah, you basically need to be on incredibly high brightness, because otherwise you can't see the floor.
Oh, well, fuck that then. Like, you can't even Misty Step it, because the floors causes blindness, so you can't see the area you want to step to, which, fair enough to the devs for thinking of that, but fuck off, that trial sucks.
At least you can jump.
You can jump, but you still got to walk a bit.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
That being said, let's talk about Dame Aelin for a minute, because her first, once she's free, all I can think of is, oh, this motherfucker's Thor.
Yeah. Radiant Thor.
Like,
instead of lightning. Yeah, that's it.
Where's the lie?
Yeah, it's great, though.
It is, and she is invaluable in combat. She just fucks everyone's day up.
Yeah, and even if she dies, she comes back.
Yeah, it's dumb.
That's just her thing. It's great.
The other thing I wanted to mention is there is a bit of, I wouldn't say controversy, but there is a mod that got released very early on it was either early on or a month ago. I don't remember which. It's been a minute. I don't have the source in front of me.
But it's been removed.
Has it been removed now?
It's been removed from the Nexus.
Okay, cool. So the mod I'm on about is a mod that changes Dame Aelin from a woman to a man, and the only purpose of this is I don't like having queers in my game.
Yep.
Which is weird, because it's not even the first one.
Yep, absolutely.
I don't know why it's this one specifically that they took umbrage with.
Yeah, it's so cute though when you see them reunite and they both go, I thought you were dead, I thought you were dead, and Aelin just lifts up Isabel and just wields her like a pillow. It's great. And then when you're talking to her, Aelin's like, oh, can we stop talking now? I want to fuck my wife.
Like, yeah, for real. I think the exact lines are, now we must take aid, I will take comfort in my lover's body. And Isabel just goes, Aelin! It's the most couple shit I've ever seen, and it's adorable.
Yeah, please leave. I wish to take solace in each other's bodies.
I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but she uses really archaic language, which makes it even more adorable.
Yeah. Like, that's basically her thing. She does like the traditional archaic pally thing of going, "Ho, fair elven princess, hast thou rescued thyself?" kind of thing. And but she normally does it to say what she's about to do to her wife. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so Shah's done. Let's do the fucking assault on Moonrise.
Yeah, so I found this difficult to keep Jaheira alive, but that's a me problem. Even when she's a minion, the first couple of times I did it, she glitched out and basically only had the attack action, which is crap. So yeah, you need to keep Jaheira alive, otherwise you can't recruit her. Everyone else doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, and trust me, the Harpers are just there to die.
Oh yes.
Like, it's such a fucking D&D thing, isn't it? Like, if you ever play D&D and there's a ton of Harpers, they're not living.
Oh yeah, they're just there to make you feel bad about good guys dying.
A little bit. So yeah, I got really lucky in this encounter in that Gale had an unusually high initiative count. So guess who fucking did a massive amount of damage with a fireball on the first turn?
Yeah.
Like, I know it's a meme for a reason, but fireball is just good. Like, it's even better when it's done by Gale and it avoids friendly fire automatically.
Yeah. I didn't know how long I had to be able to put Will back into the party, so I had Will on this as well. And I got Will to Repelling Blast the archers off the rafters, which is great because they're now attackable by anyone.
The Harper's AI was unusually good for me in that all of the archers were just aiming at the archers on the rafters.
Okay.
Which is what I would have done if I was in control, because longbow damage is crap unless you've built towards it. But yeah, just before this fight, you do get a bit of a conversation with Zarel, and she's really mad at you. She's even more mad at you if you flirted with her earlier, because she was like, I thought we were gonna fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. For my assault on Moonrise, where I was bringing everybody and trying to keep Jaheira alive, I went on a crusade around Moonrise, killing every character that I could to make this bit easier. And that worked against me, because once I exited the next area, went back to Moonrise, and it was occupied by Harpers, I was accused of crimes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I had the enemy of justice debuff because I've been, attacking guards and killing basically the rightful occupants of Moonrise, but that buff didn't go away. So yeah, the Harpers who were now in charge thought I was a baddie.
Yeah, that bug's been fixed.
Yeah. Oh yes, the Zentarim merchant flees.
Oh yeah, they flee every time. Like, it's the same thing for Goblin Camp.
Yeah, if you talk to her about the Goblin Camp, she goes, "Oh man, apparently some psychopath went around and killed all the goblins in the Goblin Camp." And if you say, "Oh yeah, that was me," she was like, "Oh, I must have misheard you, because there's no way that I'd be doing business with the person who did that."
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, the Zentarim are going to Zentarim, and that is, they care about money, nothing else.
Yeah.
They are the evil version of the Thieves Guild.
Yes. She also sells like one of the better Act 2 weapons. It's a glaive that can give you a D4 extra damage, but you don't need the glaive equipped after you do this buff, and it lasts until your long rest.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's one of the better glaives as well. Even if you don't do the cheese of unequipping it, it's like one of the better glaives still.
However, the bugbear next to her sells a legendary halberd, so guess what I was rocking for a lot of the game.
Yeah, fair enough. Is that the one that gives you like extra initiative?
No, I think it gives you 1d4 force damage.
Okay.
It might give you extra initiative, but I wasn't looking at that.
Yep. But yeah, you finally get to the roof. That's when Aelin joins you, and you kick the ass of Kethric Thorm once, and then you follow him down into the pits.
Yeah, this fight is actually interesting, because you get him down to half health, and when he's at half health, he literally just sort of goes, what the fuck? This shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, I shouldn't be anything less than 99% health. What have you done to me? And then he fucks off.
Here's the thing, right, is with my sorcerer, every other run through, I've not bothered talking to him because there's no point. As the sorcerer, I was trying to talk him down, and if you succeed on like 3 pretty high charisma checks, which as a sorcerer wasn't too big of a deal, he actually starts to come around, and then Dame Aelin fucking flies in from the roof and ruins everything you work towards.
Yes.
It's so fucking funny.
Yeah. And like even in the last one, you can skip the first phase of the fight just by talking him down. Then he just like steps back into the pit.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know what would happen there. I didn't pick it because I felt like it was disingenuous of me, because I knew I was going to kick his ass no matter what. So I was like, okay, here's where role playing is weird for me, in that I want my character to be this, so therefore that's the option I pick, even if it's not necessarily optimal.
Right.
I was like, my character knows they're lying, and I don't think they would do that. So therefore, I'm not going to try and talk him down. Let's just fucking kick his ass.
Sure, fair enough.
There's also a Mind Flayer in that fight randomly. It feels like a DM was like, this encounter doesn't feel hard enough. Mind Flayer there.
Yep. The Mind Flayer's there just to make it... It's just there to be an obstacle to just taking Aelin and freeing her on round 1.
Yeah, except I had Misty Step.
Yeah.
Misty Step really trivializes a lot of boss puzzles.
Yeah, I had Karlach with dash. Don't even need magic, just like 300 pound of muscle just charging through.
The difference is if you dash, that uses your action, so you can't help her on turn 1. You got to wait another turn.
Oh yeah, my Karlach was also part thief.
That only gives you an extra... Oh right, so yeah, disengage. Not disengage. Free action dash.
You could bonus action dash, and 2 of them if you need them. So yeah, my Karlach just like zoomed over, did that, and that was her round 1. And then Aelin was just there to help. And yeah, you can be chatting with him at the end, and Aelin's like, nah, I'm taking his skull, and just comes around and stomps him out. Great.
To be fair, Dame Aelin had been killed so many fucking times by that point by Retrospective of Shah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I think this fight is the best in the game.
I'm just gonna think for a moment, and I'm gonna disagree with you because I know you haven't done it yet, but the final fight feels like a final fucking fight.
Okay.
And when you get there, you'll know what I mean. I think as far as a regular boss fight goes, yeah, okay. Orin and Gortash feel like really shit fights compared to this.
Yeah. Like, that's kind of the problem, because Orin and Gortash are of the same rank, and yet they felt really easy compared to this.
But at the same time, Kethric is the only one who's a soldier.
True.
So I kind of get it.
Like, Orin's a cultist and is just a singular murderer, and the way that it makes her hard is that it just gives her a bunch of stupid fucking buffs where everyone just, like, gives her a bunch of stacks of Indomitable or whatever it is.
And meanwhile,
Unstoppable, sorry.
Gortash also makes perfect sense. He's meant to give off airs as a politician and nothing more. When you fight him, the only gimmick he's got is these traps that constantly go off. He's also got the aspect of Baal, which is fucking annoying, don't get me wrong, but it makes perfect sense. So I don't even want to knock them. It's just as fights, they're boring. And we'll get to that when we get to Act 3.
But yeah, the avatar of Merkel is is really well designed, I believe. It not only is threatening, but it also has the aura of death. So you've essentially got permanent chill touch on you, so you can't be healed if you're nearby him.
Yeah, which, gotta be honest with you, seems like a bigger deal than it is, because chances are you're all going to be on that circle anyway, your entire party. If you're like me, you've got like 5 additional things because you like summoning.
Yep.
And he goes down in about 2 turns, especially with Dame Aelin.
Yeah, I had Will as a Sorlock, and I just like quicken lightning bolt. That's like half his health.
Yeah. Cool. Let's rewind ever so slightly, because there's a few things to do in the actual Illithid colony. Yeah. First things first, if you rescued and kept it alive, you can encounter us again.
Yeah, so I didn't. He died fighting the first optional boss, the one that drops the sword.
Yeah,
Commander Jalk.
Yeah, well, you could have just called him the Cambion, because I don't remember the fucker's name.
Yeah, I was trying to remember his name, and it came out as Commander Jalk, yeah. Apparently, if you rescue us here, you get it as a permanent summon.
You do? I never summoned him because I didn't want to lose him.
Okay.
But yeah,
I'm assuming it's like Scratch, in that like the summon isn't the real one, so it just like is reusable, but I could be wrong.
It's weird because it gives you an item and you use the item and you can summon him or them or it. I don't know what the fuck you call a fucking walking brain.
Yeah. Is it a scroll?
No, it's a big brain.
Okay.
But yeah, you could talk to the bugbear thing and he says, oh, that one smells wrong, and you can threaten to kill all the other ones, and then he'll go, please don't, and gives you the key. You can also rescue Zevlor.
Yeah, Zevlor. Yeah, you can rescue Zevlor in here.
Yeah, you've got the option to purge the tanks, and I don't know why you would do that.
I think it's to not have to fight the ones that become mind flayers, I think is the only reason that you might want to do that.
But even then, you could just walk away.
Yeah.
It's very weird. You purge the tanks so you don't have to fight anything, but there's only 3 mind flayers, which at this level, alright, if you were playing an actual D&D campaign, that's a lot. But playing Baldur's Gate 3, it feels like mind flayers aren't as much of a threat.
Yeah, because, you've got the tools to deal with them. And you were mentioning how your game was rather bloated with magic items. This is magic items central. This is like a kitchen sink of magic items. Like, if you don't have a magic item in every slot, then you've not been picking things up.
Yeah, okay, which was me in my final encounter on my first character because I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
In fact, I went back to, because I did a few more games before going back to my original file just so I could beat the fucking thing. I was like, wow, I don't have fuck all.
Yeah. Yeah, just go to Damon and just buy all of his shit, because it's all top.
Yeah, but I couldn't because I didn't have gold either.
Well, you can always either pickpocket him or kill him if you really need the shit, but yeah.
Why would but you're suggesting you're suggesting these things which I don't do.
Yeah. It feels like the wrong thing to do to Damon in particular.
Oh yeah, not just some random fucking. It's okay to do it to a random fucking merchant, isn't it?
I mean, yeah. If
no,
you don't know them.
No. Guess what, Rick? You'd be kicked out of my fucking D&D game if you started suggesting this in the campaign.
Get a refund.
I'd be like, okay, cool. No, I wouldn't even kick you out. I'd be like, oh, you picked on the adventurer for no fucking reason. Oh, he's secretly a warlock and his patron's this bronze dragon that appears out of nowhere. Roll initiative. Oh, you're all dead because of Rick.
Yep. Well, it depends on the character. Like,
no, you're all dead.
The player character in Baldur's Gate 3 is a console a classical RPG, console RPG character. So you're expected to do morally dubious things. Apparently, if you do no crimes and you get up to the Steel Watches in Act 3, they just let you in.
Yeah, except that's bollocks, because I didn't. Okay, I technically committed crimes against the Absolute, but that's different. You're fighting them.
Yeah, but it's still classed as a crime, so that's what it looks for.
Okay, yeah, but you're saying don't do any... My point being, just because you're morally dubious in the sense that you're fighting the antagonist, doesn't mean you're morally dubious in this essence that... in the sense that you're... I'm going to kill random merchants, because why should I pay?
Yeah, I've never killed a merchant for that reason.
And yet you suggested it.
I have killed merchants for other reasons.
Such as?
Oh, like for Moonrise, like the bugbear merchant, like he joins in the opposing side. So,
but that's not killing a merchant. That's killing a combatant.
Yeah, it's killing a combatant who happens to be a merchant, and all of his best stuff is in his inventory when you kill him.
Oh, Rick, you're doing that thing again. Anyway, yes. The last thing to mention about Leofilocoli is probably the most important one. Only happens if you have will, which, unless you killed the Grove, you're probably going to have will. And that is Mazoras here.
If you don't bring will, then he gets turned into a lemur.
That's not true.
Dies.
Because
is it not? Okay.
Because Mazora's still there. You just got to free her without will. The thing you can do, though, is when you talk to her, she's like, well, let me out then. And you're like, I'm thinking that maybe you break Will's pact, and then I'll let you out. And she's like, you're fucking joking, right? And then you got the fucking different checks you can make, including one that's deception, which is mumble gibberish and make it sound like it's a pact breaking charm.
Yeah.
Which I've never done because I've never been spec'd for that type of character when getting there. But I've got to imagine she sees through it and is just like, that was a cute attempt, and I'm throwing you a bone because I found it funny. Yeah.
Well, she does that earlier as well on the bridge. If you do like the infernal chant, she's like, oh, that was so ham-fisted.
That's great.
But yeah, you can get out of Will's pact at this point, and you can also persuade her to give you some goodies. So you can get a rapier with a 6th level spell of Summon Cambion.
Jeez, that's nice.
Yeah, so you get that just before the fight with Kethric. It uses your casting stat to attack, so it can be used technically on any caster.
Yep, give it a go.
Yep.
No, don't give it a go. He's got that rod of fireball.
Yeah. But like, it basically makes Will into a blade lock, even if he's not a blade lock, if you want to do it that way, for instance.
Certainly. I just want to go on a tangent here because me and Matt had a discussion ages ago about warlocks in this game, and I imagine it would be difficult to implement, or at least, definitely not trivial, and they'd have to record a bunch more voice lines. But how cool would it be if you, as the player character, as a warlock, could have a bit more of customization on your patron, in that your patron could be either Mazora or Raphael?
Yeah, with it being Mazora or Raphael. With the Archfey, you've got Auntie Ethel, and even Dolly 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 is like a reasonably strong Fey. Like, she's not massively powerful, but you have to wait till Act 2.
I think the problem with Auntie Ethel for that is, the obvious of she wants you. I think she'd be cutting you up for parts far too willingly as a patron.
That said, she technically always honours her deals, but in the genie way.
Well, you could say the same about Mazora.
Yeah, fair enough. But at least if you do everything that Mazora wants, she's, at the end game, she's actually really, really happy with you. Although that's because she's got Will's soul forever if you end up being signed off as the Blade of Avernus.
Yeah, and also you can fuck her.
Yeah.
Except she doesn't fuck you. She makes you experience the pleasures of the 9 hells or some bollocks, and she just kind of watches as you come.
Yeah.
And when you're fit... I've not actually seen the related cutscene. That's just how it's been described to me as. I've seen the fallout of it on YouTube, because depending on who your lover is, they will either be like, oh, you couldn't have invited me, or then you've got Will and Karlach, who are literally disgusted with you.
Yes.
And rightly so.
Karlach's like, I understand, like, wanting to go with people, but fucking her. Oh. Yeah. I like Mazora. She's a fun character, but like, the problem is I like Karlach more.
Okay,
prefer
that's the thing though,
Karlach's approval.
I think we should probably address this to our audience, especially people who aren't necessarily media literate, in that that sounds really harsh, but you'll understand why I use those words. There's a lot of weirdness in the sense of when people say they like a character, people don't seem to have the common sense to autocomplete it as, I like the character because they're well written, not I like the character because, oh, they're awesome, I like them, I want to be their friend. Nobody wants to be Mazora's friend.
No. Yeah, she's a well-written character. By the same token, I like Kethric Thorm as a character in terms of I think he adds a lot to the story, and I think he's like a great villain.
I think if you were to
I don't want to be his friend.
I think if you were to isolate a single act, I would isolate Act 2 because it has the perfect antagonist.
Yeah. I don't know if it would stand up on its own without the build-up from Act 1, where everything's telling you, oh yeah, get to Moonrise, because this is where, shit's going to go down.
I kind of get you. I do, but I don't know. I think I like the Underdark a lot, but I don't think you could isolate it and have a fun time. I like Act 1 a lot. I don't think you could isolate it and have a fun time. I like Act 3 a lot. If you start at the beginning of Act 3 is weak as fuck.
Sure.
And
sure.
by that I mean if you didn't play Act 1 and 2, Act 3's fucked.
Yeah.
Act 2 is more or less a self-contained story.
Yeah, Act 3 is all payoff.
Yes, absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So like it can't stand on its own without your personal investment that gets you there.
Yeah. What the fuck was that? Whatever. Move on. Something fell down outside. Don't worry.
But yeah, the other thing that's in the Illithid colony is the brain puzzle.
Fuck this thing!
Yeah.
I hate...
It's a pain in the arse.
I looked at it and my brain went, I'm not going to be able to do this on my own. I'm going to look up a guide. And the guide didn't help.
Nope. I didn't know the way that you did it was by, like, clicking L3 to get your cursor to be able to move around and be able to select things that way.
Fuck!
So I got really frustrated.
That explains so much because Right, you're playing on the deck, so you do actually understand the annoyance of playing with a controller, because every time I moved my character so that I could look at the puzzle and connect a thing, the puzzle then went away.
Yes. So yeah, I eventually figured it out that that's what you had to do and like enter cursor mode, because every time you saw it on YouTube, it was someone on PC and they could just use the mouse.
But here's the thing, is I was looking up a thing to say, how do I select... Like, I wasn't even looking up the fucking solution. I mean, I got the solution, which I never did because the guide never told me what I had to do to actually input the thing, because it wasn't happening.
Yeah, it's just like a psychic sword at the end of the day.
Oh, fucking whoop. Oh, I wasted 15 minutes of my life trying to do it.
Yeah, it was... it's not a fun puzzle.
You also have to fight a bunch of undead for no reason beforehand.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Including one of those fuckers that does the... there's dead things. I'm going to revive the dead thing every turn.
Yep. Yeah, so that becomes prime target number 1. And hopefully you've fought them in Act 1, so you know what they do. So you know to target it immediately.
Oh, I'd argue it's easier in this encounter because... Well, obviously it is because there's only one of them. But also...
Yeah, you've had a few levels behind you as well.
And also, the arena is massive.
Yeah.
In Act 1, on the mountain pass, the area where you encounter... It's so small and annoying.
Yeah, it's a corridor, and you can't even lightning bolt half the time because you're not level 5 yet, or even if you are, it's uphill, so then it probably won't go uphill that far.
That's some bullshit, because it's like, can you not just lift your hand slightly up?
Yeah, just point in a 45-degree angle.
Like, as a DM, again, we're going to compare it to D&D, because it's a D&D game, and I understand it's a video game, it can't account for everything, coding is hard. But as a DM, I would be like, yes, you can shoot uphill, because of course you can, you just lift your hand up slightly. However, that also means the line goes up diagonally. So if there's anything at the crest of the hill, you're not going to hit those as well. Which is a fair ruling.
Yeah.
But not something you can do on the fly in a video game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feels it. But yes, the Kethric fight has a bunch of minions that he summons once you're in part 2 of it.
Thankfully, all the minions apart from the Mind Flayer are more or less one-shot kills.
Oh yeah, they're easy. Like, especially if you've got radiant damage.
Oh yeah.
And if you let any of them survive, he eats them for more health, and he gets a little buff where he can cast like Finger of Death, and yeah, if you let him be able to cast Finger of Death and you have Counterspell, it's a very good target for counterspelling.
Yeah, I had this annoying thing in this fight on one of my runs because I had both Gale and Will with me. It's annoying, but it's also not, because I think I told this before already. At the beginning of the fight, there's like 5 mage skeletons, and they all do really low limit damage shit spells, and every single one triggered a counterspell. Do you want a counterspell or Hellish Rebuke? No. And you have to click no on both.
Yes. The things that they just do like they just do the basic cantrip as well, isn't it? It's like Witch Slap.
Yeah, it's like At most, they'll do 7 damage a spell.
Yeah, and you even know what spell it is because it tells you. Like, they're doing Chill Touch.
Yeah, they have to tell you. Otherwise, how would you know whether you want to counterspell? The only reason they wouldn't have to tell you is if you're playing Pathfinder and you have Conceal Spell.
Yeah. Well, even in D&D, like, technically you don't know what the spell is before, like, on tabletop. You don't know what the spell is without using Recognize Spell, which is also a reaction.
Okay, but at the same time, if I'm making an enemy cast Fireball, you're going to know it's a Fireball.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, he does some, like, arcane gestures, and his hands light on fire, and he goes Kamehame, and then that's your time to counterspell. But yeah, I think the fight with the Avatar is, like I said, it takes some beating. I've not done the final fight yet, so it's a real high bar for me.
The final fight feels like it's cheating because it's on that epic level of a scale.
Sure.
So it's one of those where, yeah, I think you're correct. The Avatar of Merkel fight, or half of the fight in particular, is pretty fucking cool visually.
And then once this is done, you get a little cooldown party with people in Moonrise. If you got Minthara, she leaves the party temporarily just to sit on Kethric's throne.
Man, if I can imagine, like, it probably doesn't happen, but you can imagine the dirty shit she wants to do if you're in a romance with her.
Yeah. I like how she goes like, I shall never tire of sitting on dead men's thrones. It's great.
Yeah, you've also got to remember Minthara's got a bit more of a different worldview as well, because you got to remember, in her society, it's women in charge.
Yes, absolutely. This is also the part where you get most of her story. This is where she tells you about Orin, and like it's what like clues you in that Orin is a big deal as well, because until now you might have heard a bit about Gortash from Karlach.
Yeah, and if you're lucky, you get the cutscene cutaway when you're looking at the free champions is Karlach, and all she is going grrr.
Oh yeah, the cutaway of just like mad face. My favourite one of those is Shadowheart, where she looks like she's sucked a lemon.
Yeah. Well, because again,
sour heart.
Regardless of where Shadowheart's alignments end up being, she doesn't like Kethric because he betrayed Shah.
Yes. And then you got the actual final part of Act 2, which is getting assaulted by Gith.
Yeah. Does this happen regardless of whether or not you've gone through that particular route with Lae'zel?
I think it does, because I think you have to see this part, but the difference is whether Lae'zel is pro Orpheus or against.
Okay.
If you've never been to the creche, Lae'zel's not had her faith tested, and therefore she just assumes that Orpheus is a usurper.
Yeah, as she would. It's just because again, I've not encountered it, so I don't know. But if I was able to make the change, I would have it be anyone other than Gith attacking the camp.
Yeah, well, because you have to go to the prism. Like, he needs help in the prism, no matter what. The Gith come to you because they know that you're the ones that the Emperor is helping. So they use that link to go to you to kill you before you come out.
Oh, so is the implication that the Gith aren't servants of Vlaakith? They were part of the honor guard that jumped out the portal when the portal opened.
Actually, I don't know. So the ones that attack you before you get to the honor guard bit, I think those are Vlaakith ones.
But it doesn't make sense for them to be there if Lae'zel isn't actively working against Vlaakith. That's all I'm saying. Because
yeah, they might just skip if you do that. Either that, or they still want the artifact.
Yeah, but they don't know you have it.
The artifact, no matter what. I don't know, to be honest.
But the only reason I say this is because I've got one save file which I haven't progressed into chapter 3 with yet, obviously, where I didn't go to the mountain pass, and the ambush that happens just before the Baldur's Gate route doesn't happen if you didn't betray Vlaakith yet.
Okay.
So that leads me to believe that Gift being in that encounter before going through the portal would be odd.
Yeah, so the portal, the ones that come out of the portal are from the honor guard.
Okay, so that now makes sense and is fine.
Yeah, the ones from the portal are from the honor guard, the ones on the bridge are Vlaakith's.
Sure. Have you just looked that up, or are you just making assumptions on what I said?
I'm pretty sure the ones on the bridge are Vlaakith's, because they talk about like taking the prison back.
No, I know the ones on the bridge by Vlaakith's are Vlaakith's. I meant the ones coming out the portal, because before you said you don't know, so I was wondering if you looked that up.
Yeah, the ones out the portal. Or... Nah, I'm just remembering a couple of things, like they're monks, and you pretty much only get monk Githyanki from the honor guard.
Okay, sure, fine, fair enough. That's all good.
And I think you see the animation of them popping out as well.
I don't remember.
And if you leave it long enough, more come.
Oh, well, so here's the thing is, as with a lot of these timed encounters, first time I did it, it was right shitting pants moment where last possible moment I put someone through. And that's when I learned, someone just has to touch the portal and it ends the encounter. So every time I've done this, it's once again, good old Misty Step, encounter done.
Yeah, it's very easy to just end that encounter just by touching the portal. Like, you don't even have to kill the dudes.
No.
I think they're just dead when you come out either.
They are. It makes no sense. Unless the implication is the rest of your party dealt with them, but the rest of your party's not there.
Yeah, and the rest of your party's asleep. But yeah, the thing that you can do here, you can non-lethal the Honor Guard, but it's treated as if you didn't.
Well, yeah, because what the fuck's going to happen is when they wake up, or, probably what's going to actually happen is, as soon as you leave, if they're all unconscious, Emperor's just going to go, I'm a bit hungry.
Nom 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 nom. He likes his prey to be awake, so he'll probably wait until they wake up, which is even worse. So yeah, nom 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 nom.
Okay, but at the same time, eating brain it has to be specifically used on someone who's stunned.
Yes. Yeah, so this is when we find out that our dream visitor is the Emperor, that he's been a mind flayer all along, and that the line that he said really early on of, just like you, I was infected with a tab hole, is not actually a lie. It's just, he didn't stop his seriomorphosis.
But he couldn't, really.
No. He was offered a cure by his friend, and he didn't want the cure because he wanted to be a mind flayer, because he was already a mind flayer at that point. The cure was death.
Ah.
Yeah, it's so this is where you can the Emperor offers you a super tad. You can, if you've taken any tadpole upgrades, you can't refuse accepting it, I believe.
I got to this point and didn't have any tadpoles, and I still couldn't refuse it. It just goes in your inventory.
Okay, yeah, it goes in your inventory, but you don't have to accept it. Okay. Minthara takes no persuasion in using the super tad. Turns out anyone can use the super tad. I assumed it was just the person that used it just got it, but you can just spread that throughout your entire party.
Before this, you get one of the best lines in the game, which I saw via YouTube, and I think we've mentioned it before on the podcast, but it bears mentioning again, because it's so funny, and credit goes to the VA, because he sounds so pissed, where you can detect thoughts, the Emperor, when he's trying to convince you, and regardless on how well you roll, he just goes, I am telling you my thoughts! Why? Yes. What are you doing?
You must be joking. I am telling you my thoughts directly into your mind. Yeah,
and then he overpowers you by saying, you want to see my thoughts? Fine, here, and just fucks you up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, if you weren't a great old one warlock by now, you might be now.
It's great. I love it. You can refuse to help him, but that does lead to a game over.
It does, yeah. And yeah, the Super Tad bonuses are actually pretty cool. Like, you get the third tier of stuff, including a Displacer Beast transformation.
Ah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, Displacer Beast is in top left, and it was the way that I got certain characters to unglitch themselves. There's a glitch where if you are polymorphed and you unequip a weapon, then it makes that weapon bound to you, like super bound. You can't unequip it at all.
Oh,
so the way to do it is to polymorph again, and once the polymorph ends, it fixes it. So I had to super tad Astarion because he was holding Jaheira's scimitar that apparently I gave him while Jaheira was an owlbear.
Okay, so here's the thing you got to remember. The reason why Rick encounters a lot of glitches is he does also actively abuse glitches as well.
Oh, I fuck around with things. Like, for instance, I did sheep Minthara and recruited Minthara on a good playthrough before it became a thing that was just patched into the game as a normal thing that people could do.
Which is a thing a lot of people have been fucking up, by the way, because when you knock out Minthara, you have to do it when she is specifically temporarily hostile.
Yes. She basically becomes non-responsive if you've done it right, so you can't even talk to her afterwards. She's just there, probably naked because he probably took her underpants, and she just has like 1 HP, so basically you might want to heal her before you do this as well.
So basically any character who's clearly a boss character, who the fuck looks at their drops? You just press triangle.
Yeah. And her undies are great. They work really well on quite a bunch of people.
Well, I don't know about her
regular outfit.
I was going to say, okay, on my first playthrough, my regular outfit for a big chunk of the game was Minthara's clothes. I didn't realise they were meant for a woman, but they made my character look like He-Man, so I was like, oh, this is staying.
Yeah, I give it to Carla because it's got the hole down the middle, so, there's a vent where she can get rid of some heat.
Mm-hmm. Shadowheart is the absolute winner with Minthara's outfit, outside of Minthara herself, because it really shows off her boobs.
Yeah. Yep. It's easy to forget that Shadowheart is rather shapely because she's normally wearing armor.
All of my characters apart from Karlach, all of my women characters apart from Karlach wear heavy armor.
Yeah. And Karlach has got this really nice arse. It's fantastic.
I gotta be honest, I don't really look that long.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's one of those where the interesting thing about the Super Tadpole is, like, Astarion really took me for a loop, because I said, hey, do you want this Super Tadpole? Because I'm not going to fucking use it. And he went, why the fuck would I want it? And it's like, you've wanted every single power boon up until this point. And he makes the point of, yes, but now I know where it comes from.
Yeah, fair enough. Because he wanted the Tad. He was the one that wanted the Tads to begin with. Like, he was like, now that I've seen that you don't die from it, now I want them. In Act 1.
If you take certain dialogue options in Act 1, you can not use a tadpole yourself, and the first time you pick one up and don't use it immediately, Astarion just initiates dialogue saying, if you don't want that, I'll have it.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm not seeing that one.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I did to trigger that, but I was like, no, it's staying in my backpack. And he was like, oh.
But yeah, like even some of the early stuff is like pretty good for Tadpole. Like I think Minthara comes with Cull the Weak and the Charm thing.
I wouldn't know.
Cull the Weak is great.
If you have a load of Tadpole powers, it's better, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like 23 if you go to like full evolution and use everything. So anything that's 23 health or below just dies.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which, it's rather good. You have to, it gets turned off when you're doing non-lethal because you can't non-lethally Cull the Weak.
Sure.
But if you don't care about non-lethal, it's fantastic.
I can count on one hand the amount of times I've used non-lethal damage, and one of those was because I wanted to recruit Minsk.
Yeah. Yeah, recruit Minsk, recruit Jaheira, yeah.
Recruit
Not
Jaheira?
Recruit Minthara.
Why do you need it for recruiting Jaheira?
Yeah, I misspoke. It was for recruiting Minthara.
That's fine, they're both hot elf milfs, so...
Yeah. But yes, I think that's about it for Act 2.
1 second, very quickly, because we've kind of spoken about Minthara. There's cut content where she actively got pregnant during the campaign.
Oh, yeah. So I've seen a few lines that have been cut from this.
Yeah, same. And they're all adorable.
Yeah.
They're adorable in a fucked up way, because you got characters going like, oh, you got a little one on the way, and Minthara's like, yeah, so... It's like, are you sure you don't want to take like a back seat in the fighting? And she's like, I would rather die.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, let's just touch a bit on Minthara's recruitment a bit again, because like this is where you see her look like an absolute kicked puppy, and it's so heartbreaking, and it's like the real start of her roaring rampage of revenge. You've now recruited a monster and are pointing her in the right direction. It's fantastic, I think.
Yeah, and I've not gotten there, but I assume this means they've re-implemented the dialogue with Halsin then.
I don't know. I've not actually played since the latest patch, so
yeah, I'm right in front of Minthara before fighting her, and I had to quit my game, and I haven't reloaded it since because I started her dialogue by saying, "Oh no, you got it." Oh, I'm also playing as a high half elf, and she fucking hates high elves, which I didn't know because she calls you a fairy, and I was just like, "That's fuck. What the fuck? Why?" You talk to her, and she's like, "Oh, it seems the Absolute has more patience than I do," and then she got giving a fairy her powers, and then I'm like, what? And she goes, why don't you go make yourself useful and kill the tieflings? And I selected the option of, oh, actually, I'm here to kill you. And she just goes, okay. And I started the fight, and then it didn't say she was temporarily hostile, so I was like, I fucked up, so I need to do this again.
Yeah, I think you have to basically attack her while she's passive.
Yeah,
to make her temporarily hostile because she's retaliating to an unprovoked attack.
Yeah, there's two ways of doing it. You can just straight up initiate a combat by attacking her randomly, or you can steal a pen from her desk.
Sure. Steal a pen.
But yeah, the thing we're referencing is about 2 major patches ago, there was some cut content that was shown off, and it was a dialogue tree for having both Halsin and Minthara in camp, and it's a real depressing tree, and it really paints Halsin in a shitty light. Like, you totally understand where Halsin's coming from, but it's a shitty thing to do, because one of the options is if you say, yeah, no, Halsin's right, Minthara, you can't stay with us. Minthara, and I can imagine the inflection she has, because I've not heard the dialogue for obvious reasons, where she just says, I will respect your wishes, but if I can't join you guys, you're condemning me to death. Because, of course you are, she has the tadpole. Without the artifact, she's under the Absolute's control, and they don't want her. And you can still tell her to go away, and then she just leaves, and you know you've just fucking killed her for no reason. And Halsin's like, tough decision, but it had to be made. And it's like, oh, Halsin, you're a bit of a dick, mate.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who's so nature and so otherwise, like, lawfully good, and I suppose that's what it is. Lawfully good is a bit too black and white at times.
Yeah. It's rather lawful good doesn't have to be lawful nice. However, it feels like to be nice, you have to be at least chaotic in this game.
Yeah, it's why a lot of my characters in D&D are chaotic, because the law is usually stupid.
Yes.
There's a reason why paladins are usually called lawfully stupid.
Yep. Yeah, well, you either have lawful stupid or stupid good. I think my next lawful good guy is going to be stupid good. So, yeah, I've made a himbo, and hopefully he'll be fun.
Man, my mind was blown when someone just went, Adora's just a himbo, and I'm like, oh, you're so right.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think that's about enough for Act 2. So, from Act 2, do you have a favourite moment?
I mean, 2 words spring to mind, Rick. Character established.
Yes.
That initial encounter with Kethric Thorm is a very memorable moment, and if it doesn't make your top, 5 list, I'd say, of moments in Baldur's Gate 3, I'd be curious to see what edged it out. I'm also aware, which again I've not seen, but it sounds cool, if you actually arrive there as a Dark Urge, he recognises you.
Yes, you do. Yes, he does. And there's like a little narrator thing of a little glimmer of recognition comes across his face, and he's like, man, I won't tell if you won't, tee-hee.
Yeah, but it's one of those things as well where it's a fun thing to play with later knowledge, because obviously Kethric really fucking hates Orin.
Yeah.
And guess who else really fucking hates Orin but just can't remember?
Yeah, the person who got lobotomized by an ice pick.
Oh. Yeah. But yeah, what about you? What's your favourite moment?
My favourite, it's kind of the same, so I'm going to go for a different one, is when you free Dame Aelin and she just armors up and goes, we're going to kill Kethric Thorm.
Yeah, it's good.
And then just, the music swells. In fact, just generally, that whole scene of Shadowheart having her kind of like a face turn, but it's like a face establishment, really, at that point, because she's already not a bad person.
Exactly, man. And let's not beat around it too much. Up until this point, Chapter 2 is fucking depressing.
Yes. For me, I did the Dark Urge version first, so I killed Aelin. But when I did it again as my Tav, this was a really cool, uplifting moment. Just having Shadowheart do the right thing of her own accord, without even telling her to, just letting her do what she wants. Just sit back, let her work through what she wants, and just choosing not to be an arsehole. Aelin recognizing this, even though she's a Sharan, and just the music starting to swell up, and then she just gets her wings, flies off, and then you see everyone else start with their newfound hope. Yeah, it's just a great crescendo in time for the finale.
And something I want to point out, which we didn't touch upon, and this actually got pointed out to me by someone else on Reddit. Sorry, nameless Reddit guy, I read your post ages ago. But it didn't really clock with me when I first encountered it, but the reason why Dame Aelin is scarred as fuck is because the entire time she's been locked here, every single person who became a Dark Justiciar did so by killing her.
Yes.
So the reason...
Yes.
And a lot of those scars are fucking gnarly. They were not kind about it.
No, they weren't. One of the things that you do to become a Dark Justiciar is to kill a Selûnite.
And look at this, we've got one captured who is a daughter of Selûne, and also constantly revives.
Yep, dead easy. So yeah, she gets super killed super often, and has been doing for the past 100 years, which is a big pain in the arse for her. And yeah, the fact that she's the only Azimar is kind of a downer, but it also makes her seem way more special.
I think I know you want Azimar as a player race in the game, and I'm not going to debate that here or now, but there are certain races that feel like they should feel special, and it bugs me when you've got a party full of people who are like, I'm from XYZ Zelsior, I'm the last living person of so-and-so, and then 5 minutes later the player character turns up and they're from the same place.
Yeah. Well, I think they could have just said, "Oh yeah, she's actually a half angel,"
which is basically what
she
Aasimar
actually
are.
is a daughter of Selûne. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, Aasimar are the celestial equivalent of tieflings, because tieflings are not actually half devils; they're just regular humans with some diabolic blood in the bloodline.
Oh, okay. Well, I got the wrong end of the stick because I generally thought Aasimar were demigods.
Nah, that's I think it's Empyreans. I think is what the demigods are. So yeah, she could very definitely be an Empyrean.
Sure.
Whereas a player character Aasimar is just as it is in the regular game, where you just are a person that has some divine blood in your bloodline.
I can imagine there being some real fun dialogue with the tieflings fucking hating you just on principle, because it's like, oh, how come we got the shit end of the stick, looking like devils and people hating us, and then look at this fucking perfect Aryan god.
Yeah, just with like animated sparkles all around their skin all the time, yeah, and a halo.
I just want to clarify something there. When I say that, I say it facetiously. I'm not fucking putting Aryans on a pedestal. I think they're knobheads.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not implying that any one race in real life is better than any other, because anyone who ranks races is like automatically racist and almost always puts their own on top.
Well, okay, but for real though, if you're gonna rank things, why would you not rank the thing you are at the top? Because you're gonna want to feel special.
Unless, yeah, the only reason you wouldn't is if you're self-hating. And
this is this is our Baldur's Gate. Let's move on. Do the weakest link.
Yep. So, what would be your weakest link from Act 2?
Weakest link would be probably the fact that, there's not... It's weird, because so much happens in Act 2, while also nothing happens in Act 2.
Yeah, there's basically one thing, and it's you do Moonrise.
And it's good. It's such a nothing weakest link, because I wouldn't change a thing, but it feels less than, 1 and 3.
Okay, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Basically, you're making me say something, and there's not a lot bad with... I've gone on record as saying I think Act 2 is my favourite act as a whole.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, I'll throw it to you, fuckface. What's your weakest link?
Well, it's like you said, Act 2 is a little bit depressing. Like, if it weren't for the finale with all the uplifting parts and, like, that little bit with Last Light with Jaheira establishing that she's actually kind of fun to be around, and Dammon being there and fixing Karlach's heart, and you being able to do the Karlach romance from then on, like, it's rather a depressing part of the game. In contrast to the Underdark, which is also a dark zone, but, like, has fun things and is really beautiful. This is, like, a dark zone that has fun things and is really grim.
But at the same time, it's classic storytelling. Like, the middle should be the most downer. I'm simplifying it, don't get me wrong, but that is the general gist of it. The beginning is like, here's the journey, here's establishing everything's okay. Middle, here's the hurdle we must overcome. End, everything, well, you either have a happy ending or a sad ending. In this, it could be both.
Yes. Yeah, this is the Empire Strikes Back of acts in terms of that, in that, you need the darkness before dawn.
Like, you win the fight, but you've only just started the battle. Sorry, yes. You win the battle, but you've only just started the war. That's what I was going for.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, totally. But we'd always like to end on a high note. Who is going to be your MVP from Act 2?
It's not even a fucking contest, is it? It's Kethric Thorm.
Yeah, absolutely. Ditto from me. Also Kethric Thorm.
Do you want to give a runner-up each, because it's so clearly Kethric Thorm?
My runner-up is going to be... Do I want to give it to Dame Aelin or Jaheira?
Well, I'll put it this way. I'm going to give it to the High Harper. So, if you want to split the difference...
Okay, yeah, let's split the difference, because, like, I was edging on giving it to Jaheira, but I think Dame Aelin, because she is like the fulcrum of my favorite moment alongside Shadowheart, it kind of means that she kind of has to be up there for me as a secondary one. We talked about Kethric Thorm when we talked about him. We talked about Dame Aelin when I've been harping on about her, and we've not spoken quite as much about Jaheira.
I think there's a reason for that, because Jaheira is entertaining from moment one, and if you're a good party, she is definitely fucking fun to just talk to. If you have Karlach in your party, she gets extra fun moments. Yeah,
Karlach gets super giddy. Like, you even get approval just by recruiting Jaheira that moment.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Jaheira's I think one of the reasons why a lot of people don't put a lot of investment in Jaheira is most people already have Halsin, who is a better druid.
Yeah, so I did have Halsin, and I just didn't use him. because I knew I was getting Jaheira, and I like Jaheira better as a character.
Yeah, so
so when it comes to a part in Act 3, yeah, Halsin was the one that got.
yeah, in my game, it was Lae'zel, and I was like, oh, that's weird, but whatever. Jaheira's great. She's funny, but she's also a source of wisdom in the group. Like, whenever you talk to her, she's like, there's a great bit of dialogue where you talk to her and you ask her about things, and she goes, there, did I fulfill the role of wise and olden crone? And one of the responses is, oh, don't worry, Jaheira, you're only one of those things. And she just goes, I'm not going to ask which.
Yeah, she basically, she laughs it off in a really, like, endearing way, and, like, I half expected to just see Jaheira approves in the corner.
Yeah.
From the way that she reacted. It was great.
Another thing with Jaheira is a lot of her actual cool moments happen in Act 3 because she's actually in the fucking party.
Yes.
So we'll get to that
absolutely.
when we get to Act 3, I guess, because, yeah, hands down, Kethric Thorm, MVP from both of us. Honourable mentions to Jaheira and Dame Aelin.
Yeah, absolutely. So, over 2 hours later, you've got this from us. If you like the video, you got the comment section down below on YouTube. And if you're listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can instead send an email to...
I'll give it to you in a moment. I just want to let the audience know that pre-editing this podcast is 3 fucking hours.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying over 2, because I know it'll be cut down from 3. And if I say 3 and it's like 2 hours 20, then people are going to go, nah, it's not.
But yes, the email, as always, is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
And if you made it this far, fucking good job on you. See you again next time, guys.
Yeah, let's be honest, they're listening because they like Baldur's Gate 3, not because they like us two knobheads. Bye, guys.